Dana, this is the show, and we got Luke Wilson, our old buddy. Cool hand Luke. That guy's
Cool
a
hand
stud,
Luke.
dude.
Handsome and charming.
Man, he looks all tough. Yeah. I click no boxes. This dude's just a box clicker. And he also golfs. He's really good at golf.
Yeah.
And,
there's no red flags. He's just a box clicker.
He's such a goddamn box clicker. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just walks around checking boxes and looking cool, and he sounds Southern.
Great
actor. I think it's real.
Those Wilson brothers, they got their own kind of accent. It's called the Wilson brother accent. It's like just a very cool, it kind of makes you mellow out,
Yeah.
Just chill.
It just mellows me out. Yeah.
Because you know how anxious you get.
Yeah. Mine is called, my accent is more like thirsty and anxious.
Yeah.
People pleasing, gross.
I'm a people pleaser. I got the disease of fleas. I'm going to become a badass.
I got the disease to please.
Tease to please. Yeah, line me up.
And he's also in Horizon, which you've seen all of, and I've seen some of because I love Costner, and I like it. It's cool, and he's cool, of course.
He is effortlessly makes a great cowboy, and there's an incredible scene in there. So we do talk about working with Costner and that movie, and
also his new movie, You Gotta Believe.
You Gotta Believe, and that's a family picture around a baseball coach who falls ill, and the team, and it's based on a true story. So check that out.
Mr. Greg Kinnear, who I used to see more of, but he's out there.
Greg Kinnear.
I think he's a client of Carvey.
No wonder you don't see him so much.
He doesn't like money. You like money?
No, he's great. He's always great at things. For us, it was kind of fun because, we like to talk about ourselves. As Luke was curious about us. Some guests, like to ask questions. So that was sort of fun talking about ourselves a little bit. He's just a charmer.
About me.
Yeah.
He also
he's the guy
was
you want to hang out with.
Reese Witherspoon. What's that movie? The huge one. Heather, what's it called? It's her first one with she's a lawyer. God, you don't know it.
Blonde.
Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde really stumped the panel. Anyway, and he was in Old School. He's in so many movies.
Old School, Legally Blonde. Yeah, there's just tons of movies.
Love it. All right. Well, enough of us. Here he is, Luke Wilson. Yeah, he looks cool. Shit, put your clothes on, dude.
Damn.
Hey, guys. I want to thank you for appearing on my podcast, Talking with the L Train. I appreciate that. Just want to get a couple of ads out of the way here. Dana, I'm going to have you read one for Miramax Films, and David, yours is going to be for Anthony Pelicano Private Investigations. Okay. I am emailing you guys the text.
God, I love it. You're so efficient. I'm recording for Dana's World. It's a little side pod, just so you know. Doesn't matter.
I'm doing some drone footage of this.
Great to see you guys. Long time, first time, as they say.
Yeah.
You remember ours, though, right? You, me, Nealon, and your brother had dinner at this restaurant.
Yeah, dinner, yeah.
Right, and the next day the economy was shut down. Stay indoors, right, basically.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just thinking about that dinner because I've never been back to that place. And I think
neither.
I think Owen had just done that hiking with Kevin thing, and then that's how we all happen to have dinner. But I was thinking about that. That's the only time I've ever gotten the chance to meet you. So,
well, we just scattered. That was it. We just scattered.
Yeah.
I don't really put numbers I'm getting better at putting numbers in my phone. So I thought of calling or texting you guys. And when your brother got SNL, I think he gave a text to me, but he didn't say his name, and I was like, who is this?
Right.
I didn't really. So, anyway.
That was great when he did SNL. Because I think he was, he had not done it for a long time. And I think he and Lauren are good friends. So it was cool when he got the chance to do that.
Are you the only brothers that have done it, or it must have been other brothers?
No,
both have hosted.
There have to be a few others. Didn't the Gibbs do it? And
the Gibbs.
The Gibbs. Andy Barry did it.
Did Harvey and Bob Weinstein do it at one time?
Maybe the Kelsey brothers at some point will both be on.
Mo Howard's grandson hosted early season, though. I don't know. I think you guys might be the only ones, but all right. I'll always think of you as a 154 half miler, but we can move on to your movie career.
153.
153?
I mean, if we're talking about it, 153.
153 in high school. For casual listeners, this is a national class. This is a guy who's going to go maybe on a scholarship to a college at 153 in high school.
And you're a good runner too. Do you
Not at your level.
You faded out.
I wish
427 mile does not translate to 153.
I wish I'd pursued it. I didn't. I kind of I didn't realize how kind of important high school or just sports were to me until I stopped playing them after high school.
Yeah. I guess that's always the thing. We had a team. My high school program was like a college program. It was pretty unbelievable. But anyway, for people who have turned us off at this point, for you track fans, our guest today.
Look at this stud. He looks like the Marlboro Man. We got Horizon. Dana saw you in Horizon. I like a big fat ass Western.
By the way, I loved it, and I loved you in it. You are a IMBD. I don't know who writes this stuff, but it was kind of shit. It was kind of cool. It referred to you as the handsome Texan.
Jesus,
Luke Wilson.
That's what I want to be called.
I want to be called the I can't say that.
My grandmother might have written that a few years ago.
Yeah, no shit.
So just because Horizon's right up on our near Horizon,
right in the screen.
You also have a new movie out. I loved it. I think it's gonna.
That's not even why I'm here, guys. I'm excited to talk to you guys. I mean, I'm really. I hadn't really gotten into listening to podcasts, and then I'd heard about you guys having this one, and it was kind of SNL related. And then I'd gotten to. I mean, I've listened to pretty much all of them, and then for me, the funniest thing is like. It's the only time I've ever enjoyed listening to people talking about comedy where I haven't been like, why don't you fucking make me laugh? Instead of telling me how hard comedy is. But no, I love the show. And I mean, the most recent one I listened to was Nick Swardson, which was a really funny one. And then, gosh, I listened to one that was a couple of years old, but you guys got to kidding around about just pilots and making connections and being stuck on planes. And gosh, it was so funny.
Shit, I was going to tell Dana, I had this girl on this plane this last week when I was on the road, and it's all silent in first class or whatever class I was in. And she goes, and I just go, I pop up like a meerkat. I'm like, because no, you can't just get away with that. And then everyone's quiet. And then she goes, again, really deep one. And so, of course, I wake the guy next to me. I'm like, hey, man, like it's a terrorist. I go, we got a situation, dude. Like, what are we doing? Because something's going on. There's germs everywhere. And then I sort of unionize everyone around me. I go, what, like, where's the air marshal? Like, let's bring them back for this. Because then she sneezed. I'm like, oh, get fucked. You're not sneezing and acting like it's nothing. This is, we're all flying together. And the stewardess is up there reading Us magazine. I go, get on this shit. Dive on that grenade.
Yeah. Have the air marshals just kind of quietly faded away? Because, I mean, it was amazing for a while there. You could always see those guys, kind of the kind of like ex officio shirt on or the like fishing shirt on.
Yeah. Just really like doing People magazine crossword, staring at everyone, faking it. Yeah, I gunned somebody down.
I flew with a guy who was terrified to fly, worse than me. And then on came the plane right at the end. We were in first class, but it was a pretty big first class, domestic. And anyway, so
everyone's
6
puking
people
in their cars
of Middle Eastern descent came on and sat down, and they all started praying. And this guy is flipping out. And I just said I said, it's so obvious it can't be true. You've never been safer. It's way too obvious because it was,
Yeah,
so anyway.
Martin Lawrence had a great bit in like his second stand-up special about like post 9/11. That was the only time he'd really seen blacks and whites working together, was, on a plane kind of monitoring who was coming in on and off.
Who to be racist against together.
Yeah, exactly.
I like when they bring out the beverage cart and the flight attendants stand in front of it with their arms crossed.
Yeah,
oh boy, nothing's getting through that.
You guys mentioned that your life depends on Marjorie and some mini bottles. That's what stands between you and going down.
Dude, I stand up in the back and I just pull out a little curtain to look up in first, and she's got the beverage cart and she's like, just gives her hand like, whoa. Whoa. That's as far as we're going right now. We got a whole thing up here. You know what the bev cart means. And so I was like, oh, you can't even get close. You can't stand up. They think you're making a move.
I know. And on the back of her uniform, it said "Stand your ground." I thought it was a little dark. I mean, do we need to
we're
know?
over Florida right now.
I'm just trying to get to Houston. Okay, 90 minutes. I don't need some kind of action up toward the bulwark part of the atmosphere.
Well,
I lost.
You have got the Dennis Miller down, and he makes it's almost like having him be the third host, because he makes an appearance at every show you guys do through
Lovitz and Dennis make appearances.
God, and I this week I was, for some reason I was like, I'm gonna go back, and couldn't find anything to watch. I was like, I'm gonna start the Larry Sanders Show again.
Oh,
there you guys are, first season. Both of you guys are in that.
Look at that.
Bits. That's incredible.
Oh,
I was in the first show, I think.
Yeah.
One of them substituting for Larry.
Yeah, I think that was I think right around 4, but David might have been in the first one. I think he might have beat you in there.
I don't know. Mine was recorded before the show premiered, and then moved. Do you remember Hervé Villachez?
Yep, saw that one where he had the beard, and then you had the
Hervé Villachez was my guest, and because he was just from another country, he didn't know he wasn't on a real talk show. He didn't know he was doing a talk show within a talk show with, so he thought he was in a real
with
talk
a substitute talk show host.
Yeah.
Dana, yours might not have been first, only because would they have the first episode without establishing Larry has his own show and everything? Because if he had a guest host.
Yeah.
I was. I think mine, Luke. Thanks for bringing this up.
Guys, hey, let's just agree that you were both there first season. But I was even thinking about that in terms of getting into the business. Dana got in first, then David got in.
Yeah.
Then I got in.
Yeah. You followed our footsteps.
He is the silverback in the group. We have to.
That's what we say.
You would have loved that, Luke. Did you ever get on Larry Sanders?
No, I didn't. I think by the time I got to town, because I can remember watching it back in Dallas, I think it was already off, but I can remember seeing, Gary Shandling around Santa Monica when I first got into town. Then knew people like Duke Coveney that were friends with him, and Greg Kinnear that knew him. But he was not, the show had finished by then, but such a funny show.
And the interesting part was that he did that style of shooting, quasi documentary, and then that influenced Ricky Gervais.
Oh yeah,
who made The Office and
a lot of handheld stuff.
And then we got Our Office, but there was no digital, so he had 3 guys with 16 millimeter cameras on their shoulders. So I'm talking to Larry, got one on me, one on Larry, and a 2-shot. And so you could overlap, do whatever you wanted. Yeah. Every take would be its complete organic take. So it was the easiest acting. I don't know if you ever, when digital came in, that was more around. But at the time, it was like, just completely organic, super real. That's why it popped.
But still, so much more difficult to have to do that on film. But interesting that you guys did it. And I was thinking about, you guys, did you guys ever watch, because to me, the funniest show, and I guess it qualifies as a sitcom, is Faulty Towers.
Yes,
with John Cleese, and it only ran for 2 seasons, but that to me is just, unbelievable.
Dana, you saw that? I don't think I saw that.
Have you not seen it, David? You've got to watch that. I mean, the guy. I'm sure it's one of those things that's scripted, but he is so funny with the sides and muttering that it seems unscripted.
That's me. Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's unbelievable. And only went for 2 seasons, so probably only about 20 episodes, if that.
I think 28 or something. It's like kind of like The Honeymooners or something. But John Cleese, I think The Honeymooners was only 28.
Did that only go a couple of seasons?
Yeah, just not that many.
Yeah, they only got 50 million viewers, so they had to cancel it back then.
All right.
But John Cleese and Monty Python,
It's
you know what I
funny.
mean? They're just, and your dad, insert your dad. It's just a fun fact.
This
your
is trivia.
Dad brought Monty Python to America.
Well, my dad was working at a PBS station in Dallas, Channel 13. And
KERA.
KERA. And he somehow wound up as the program director without any experience. But it was really, he had this friend, kind of buddy that he'd hang out that worked there, Ron DeVilliers. But he was the one who had maybe a Monty Python. Did they have a record before they had anything televised? But anyhow, he's the one who had said to my dad, these guys are unbelievable. They're from England. We've got to get them on the show. And then they got the guys to come to Dallas, where they had kind of a wild couple of nights with those guys. But it was at first aired on KERA in Dallas. But it was really my dad's friend, Ron DeVilliers, who got my dad to do it. But
it says here it was your dad, so we're going to go with that.
Okay, good.
And so you sort of got into that kind of comedy. Like when I was a kid, I saw Life of Brian. I was a kid, but I thought, holy shit, it was like rated R. But I thought that was so fucking funny, and it was not like what I'd seen, regular stuff I'd seen.
Yeah, I can remember when that came out. Somehow it was kind of over my head, and I still haven't seen all the Monty Python stuff. And I know, it's one of those
Holy
things
Grail.
where people, I don't think I've seen the whole thing. Where
I didn't get all the stuff because I was too young, and it's also some English humor, but I just remember thinking there were boobs in it. Maybe that was it.
Yeah. It's like,
maybe that's why I liked it.
Benny Hill could keep you keyed into hopefully some females, but somehow that kind of was over my head at the time. But I've since, there are all these kind of documentaries about Monty Python, and I just find those so funny because they're all such Eric Idle and Graham Chapman, and they're all such funny guys. And just all that stuff they all kind of went to the same, the kind of these boys' schools like Eton, and then I think they all went to one of 2 colleges like Oxford, and can't remember what the other one was, but they're all, especially of course John Cleese is just so funny. But they do seem like kind of, that's one thing I wanted to ask you guys about, because one thing I always think about, funny people, and is somehow they have kind of also very sensitive, but also like a quietly kind of rebellious spirit to to where you can get told when you're a kid. And I'm not including myself, I'm talking about guys like you, and I think about people like Mike Judge, where you can get told that's not funny, you need to grow up, you need to get serious and not do that, where a lot of people say, oh, okay, yeah, that's true, I need to stop imitating this person or walking funny, or that kind of thing, where I think there's a kind of a rebellious spirit in there that I find really interesting that you guys have.
It may be a little bit of a through line of some kind of childhood connection. Not that a childhood would completely create a full form person as a genetic component, but there's a little bit of passive aggressiveness into it. I noticed later that all my characters were cocky and aggressive. Church lady, Hans and Franz, we could take go father. And I thought, and I'm a nice guy, and I have the disease to please.
Right.
But as a comedian, I could just be kind of passive aggressive.
Right. And I mean, also
like a ventriloquist.
I had heard you, Dana, talking, and maybe it was on Howard Stern, just kind of talking about how your dad, how he could be kind of hard on you, like so you and a friend were like trying to fix a car, like a lawnmower in the yard.
A weed killer thing.
Yeah. Have you thought about using your penis?
No, I said, Dad, what tool should I use for this? Me and my best friends in junior college in the garage, just in the morning. What tool should I use? And he was just in a mood. He was just in a moment. He's in the garage. He said, quote, and we never forgot it. Oh, Jesus Christ, use your penis, you shithead.
That's my judge has a great one about his father. Okay. And I think his dad was, like a archaeology professor, but he'd left the house one day. He told Mike to mow the lawn and I think it was Albuquerque, and he got home at the end of the day, and Mike hadn't mowed the lawn. And Mike is one of those people, when he'll imitate someone, he'll kind of contort and turn into the person, but you'll see him turn into his dad, where he's like, I told you to mow the goddamn lawn. But I also think it's something that ties into like musicians. Like I'll think about like Tom Petty. He's one of those guys that had a tough dad, or like, Bruce Springsteen had like a dad that like didn't communicate with them. I mean, so I don't know. I think it's kind of one of those things where you can retreat.
Yeah, it's also, there's a little bit of attention getting when I was no dad around. So, and you'll never believe this, I was a bit of a pipsqueak growing up. And so
that was your nickname.
Small fry, shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, I had a few of those.
Yeah. Fruit cake, fruit cup, fruity. Any derivative.
Any derivative of fruit.
Yeah. Now back then, fruit sort of had a negative connotation. I can't.
Well, you guys revenge.
Time.
Yeah, it was a different time.
Hey, folks.
Fruit cocktail, fruit cup.
That was
tutti fruity.
Fruity shorts, fruit pants.
Yeah, fruity pebbles.
Fruit lover.
So I was sort of like whispering jokes around, almost just to survival mode in school, and not confident enough to think the joke should be at full volume. So I would just say it, and if anyone laughed, I'd be like, "Oh, that was a joke." And if they don't laugh, you go, "I wasn't."
That was just a muttering.
Yeah, it was a mutter, and so that sort of got me through. But there is something to all that stuff.
I really think there is. And did you guys ever, like, I always think like the friends you had back then, like I always think like with, really funny people like you guys, you had to have been around other really funny kids, but where you guys would have, kept moving in the direction of, where you wound up, where they kind of would have done the thing that I was talking about, where they would have grown up, gotten serious.
The hard part, Luke, is right after college, because that's the big split where you go, I go to college or I do this stupid fucking shenanigans that make no money. And look at my balloons. What just happened?
Yeah. This happens on our.
I know.
How did I cue that?
I heard you guys talking about.
This is it. You see it, Luke. We just had balloons pop up.
It's such a great way to like make
I don't know how it works.
It's so much funnier. We got to show it on video.
I found it kind of moving. You were talking about.
It was. I was giving a speech.
It was emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, who cares?
No, but really, it's true. Like,
it's true.
I remember being surprised when a couple of my best friends like saying like, "You want to be a stockbroker?" You never told me that. I didn't know that. And they said, "Well, what do you want to know?" I said, "I don't know. I have no idea what I want to do."
Was your dad tough? I mean, you have 3 kids in acting. I mean, who lets that happen? Who's watching?
My dad
store?
I know he was a very nice, kind of funny guy. And I mean, I'll think back and I'll talk about it with my brothers, just thinking like, gosh, must have been under quite a strain to have like, 3 kids and,
Sure, boys.
school, keeping us in school. And then he had, by that time, by, the late 70s, he'd started like a little kind of advertising company, just him and, like 4 or 5 people. But yeah, my dad was great. And, I never had a crossword with him really. But in terms, I don't, they hope for and they certainly didn't say like, don't try to get into movies or don't try and make a movie. But they, would have been kind of, I'm sure now looking back, they were kind of quietly concerned, but definitely, had the feeling where we were from in Dallas, you could see people just kind of looking at us like kind of these guys that had lost their way and now had settled on the pipe dream of wanting to get a film made.
What was the first thing? Was Bottle Rocket? Is that thing you guys did together? Just as who would know how to make something that good that fast? That's so rare.
Well, I think it was just Owen and Wes Anderson trying to write something.
Was he a buddy?
Yeah, Owen had met Wes in an English class at the University of Texas in Austin. Wes was from Houston. They didn't know each other, and they were both, both wrote. And then Wes, I think even back then, wanted to, direct stuff. So then he and Owen did kind of a 1-act play with Owen in it and Wes directing. And then they'd written a whole script of Bottle Rocket, and it was kind of around the time of like Sex Lies and Videotape and the Brothers McMullen, where these kind of cheaper films were getting made, and we thought, okay, well maybe we can do one of those. And they'd written a whole script, and then we learned that even to do it cheaply would cost $400,000 or something. Shit. So met this guy in Dallas who had said, you should, from the script, make a short film. And then there's this thing called the Sundance Film Festival in Utah where they have a shorts program. And this was, the early days of Sundance. And then that's how that all.
So that people already saw a 13-minute version. That didn't go wide though, right? That's just investors or something.
Yeah, it just went in. It went to Sundance. Nothing happened with it there. And then a woman named Barbara Boyle, a producer, she saw it and liked it, and she got it to a producer friend of hers, this woman Polly Platt, who's kind of an interesting woman, like kind of behind the scenes. She'd been married to Peter Bogdanovich, and she was instrumental in getting the Last Picture Show and Paper Moon made. Oh, shit. But then they got divorced, and then she kind of became the right-hand person of James L. Brooks, and she's the one who got him to make Terms of Endearment, because that was also a Larry McMurtry book, like The Last Picture Show. And they went on to make Broadcast News, and then she saw the short, liked it, read the script, got it to James L. Brooks, and then we started this kind of long process of trying to get it made, just because at the time he was making this movie I'll Do Anything, which at the time was kind of famously, it was going to be a musical with,
I remember that.
Music by Prince and choreography by Twyla Tharp. And, Nick Nolte was in it, and they did all this stuff. Hey. It was a musical, and they decided to set your Nolte.
Yeah, Jesus. That's like North Dallas 48 hours. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I mean, 48 hours to me is, I was just watching a lot of that last week. But anyhow, that's how it got started. And that's how it started.
Holy shit. And James L. Brooks is huge. Yeah.
You're like 22 when Bottle Rocket
comes around, out? I think around 22 or so. And I think it was about 94 we made the short. And then I know the movie came out in 96.
When you went back to the town, I mean, I think you were in Occidental. When you went back to the hometown, it was different, right? I mean, people were like, what the fuck? You guys are movie stars. I mean, it must have been
were you a movie star then? What did it feel like?
Well, I mean, you got in a big movie.
When we were making, there's still, I mean, Dallas is kind of you know,
pretty big town.
Yeah, it's a big town, and also kind of a money driven town by, you know, like very traditional, you know, businesses and you know, oil and gas. So we weren't kind of welcome back as heroes. We were still the guys that, if anything, it was there more kind of, what are you guys doing? They're doing what? Oh yeah, hey, my buddy saw. It looks like you guys were filming a movie over there by the
motion picture,
by kind of near downtown. Hey, you guys, you know, it's never kind of like, hey, great job or congratulations.
Right, they kind of shit on.
We always laugh about that after we'd made Bottle Rocket, and you know, some producers saying to us like, I hope you guys are ready for your lives to change. And we were like, oh yeah, we are so ready. And then, like, you know, kidding around, okay, 30 years later, still nothing has changed.
They told me I auditioned for American Idol.
Nothing changed when Bottle Rocket came out, where like, you know, came and went in 2 weeks.
But you're looked at a little differently. Like when I'm from Arizona, just the fact that I moved to LA, I was a star. I did nothing. I'm just there like, wait, you were in LA, you've been to LA, and you moved there? Because everyone's like, I might move to LA, and no one did. And I did, and they were like, what the fuck? And meanwhile, I'm scraping and scratching and doing nothing. But I got an audition was like front page news. They couldn't fucking believe it. So.
Yeah, and even with Arizona being closer, you'd think it would be less impressive. Right. I mean, you're 6 hours away.
They were flipping out. They couldn't believe when I got my first call back, it took about a year, honestly. But you take a while, and then you get something, and then that's big news. But this little wispy nothings are a big deal, because in my head, they were a big deal to get an audition, to get a 6-minute spot at midnight and bomb at the Improv was exciting. So, you know, it's all the same. And then you inch your way up to fame. My fame never came quickly. Was yours quicker? Because Bottle Rocket, and then what was the one that people really kind of turned their head? Did it take a while? Was it Old School, Legally Blonde?
Yeah,
those ones are big fucking monsters.
That was maybe the first big hit where, you know, people you wouldn't expect to recognize you, you know, little kids and moms.
Goes wide.
Yeah. And then, you know, I guess definitely then Old School, where it really connected with guys and, you know, guys that were my age at the time. And then, you know, I don't hold it in the same level as Animal House, but it was that kind of movie.
Yeah. It was big.
So you get teenage boys, and then, you know, guys our age that loved it. But yeah, I guess with those kind of started.
Well, you, Vince, and Will both all kicking on all 4 gears. It was great. I mean, and a script, and it was Todd Phillips too.
Yeah, Todd Phillips. So yeah, that was incredible being around Will. That might have been like the first SNL. And then I was thinking about it since, like, I've worked with so many of you guys, you know, and like Kristen Wiig, but so many SNL people. And to me, that's been, you know, besides getting to work with guys like Nolte or Gene Hackman and James Caan, that was always kind of like the most exciting thing to me. Like, okay, I'm getting to work with, you know, the guys that my dad loved and the guys that, you know, were so cool. But then getting to work with SNL people, which I've gotten to work with so many and still do. But that's always been kind of the high point, is those older, you know, male actors, and then you SNL people. And I know, Dana, I mean,
which one are we?
You guys are
the older male SNL actors now.
You guys are the SNL actors and the old studs.
Yeah, there you go.
How was Gene Hackman? Because I don't know if this is true, but I think it was The Quick and the Dead. It was a Sharon Stone sort of produced comedy. It had Leonardo DiCaprio in the 90s.
Is it a comedy?
No, it was a Western.
Right.
And the director's out there and the crew and everyone, and Gene Hackman, and he's going, okay, so Gene, you'll walk down here, you'll pivot here. He's going like this. And Gene Hackman just said in front of everybody, okay, first of all, I'm not going to do any of that shit. and don't you ever give me a fucking direction again.
Oh my God.
I did see Gene get
testy
a little,
but I love a guy with that kind of control
a little and power under the collar. But I think with him, like, number one, like, you know, he's one of those guys that you always think of as being like age 50. But even when I worked with him on the Royal Tenenbaums, he was 72. But
he looked 50 at 30.
Yeah,
and then he
stayed 50.
Always
Hoosiers.
But he was a Marine, and then a real actor's actor in the best kind of way. But like a New York guy, he'd been like I think roommates with like Dustin Hoffman and Robert Duvall. But I think he'd really put his time in and really did take it seriously. But yeah, he got a little heated a couple of times, and then I think he kind of settled into the movie we worked on together, The Tenenbaums. But I do remember one time, just kind of sitting there, and I could feel Gene kind of just staring at me. I kind of looking over out my face, and like, oh man, I'm like, hey Gene, he's like, you remind me a lot of my son.
Oh,
and I was like, how do you guys get along? But yeah, he was great. I do remember when I worked with, I always ask people that worked with him, like, how was it when you worked with Gene Hackman? And I asked Nick, I loved it. And I asked Nick Nolte, because they'd worked on this movie Under Fire, and Nick was like, "Oh, Gene and I got along great." But he told a really incredible story about Gene losing his temper at the end of the movie. There was some shootout, and I think the director's name was Costa Gravas, some kind of European director. Yeah. But he was saying, in the finale, in the middle of the street, that's when they killed the pig in the middle of the street. An actual pig, and Gene said, "No, I'm not going to do the scene. If you're going to slaughter a pig in the scene, I'm not going to do it."
Oh, really? Kill one in the scene?
And he said, "Gene, no, this is part of the movie. It shows that everything dies at the end. It's a slaughter, whether it's a pig or human." And Gene was like, "I'm not going to do it. You can film it in a way that you don't need to slaughter the pig in the scene." And he said, "Okay, Gene." Then they do the scene, and this guy slaughtered the pig, and Gene went ballistic on the South American location. And Gene, screamed at Nick. He was like, "Nick, did you know about this?" And Nick was like, "No, Gene, I didn't." And then he went up to the director. He said, "You told me you weren't going to do that. You agreed to that." And the director said, "No, Gene, I did not know. I told these stupid guys not to do that." Gene was like, "You're telling me that you told them not to do it?" And he said, "Yes. But Gene, you should have seen the reaction. It was wonderful." and then Gene blew off the handle.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Did he get physical or just verbal?
I think just verbal. And he is a big guy, but I think that, but I think he's also one of those guys that, like, somehow, that what we love about him comes from that same kind of anger. The way he kind of, the way he kind of chuckles and smiles.
He chuckles through scenes. It's run there, he was my favorite guy. There was 10, 15 years, people go, "Who's your favorite actor?" He was definitely one of three. I would just go,
for
Gene
sure.
Hackman, when he's always kind of laughing and shaking peanuts in his hand.
But he's got
and like Mississippi Burning, where he's like, he got a stupid smile.
Yeah.
He always kills it all the way back. He's
like, the top three where, if he's in it, it's going to be watched.
I'll go. Oh,
Costner, going full circle, said that Gene Hackman was the best actor he'd ever worked with.
Yeah.
What did they do?
That was when he played the Russian
No Way Out.
agent.
Yeah.
Was it No Way Out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Costner about it too. And he thought he was the best. And then he had a thing where they played a scene in Gene's office a certain way. And each time they were both sitting, and this was like the third scene where they're in Gene's office, and Kevin said to the director, "I think that I should be standing, during the scene." He's like, "No, it just doesn't work if you're not sitting." And while Kevin and the director are going back and forth, Kevin said that, Hackman's just kind of sitting there watching it. And then the director said, "Okay, well, what's Gene supposed to do? If you're standing up, over him in his office?" and Costner said to him, like, Gene will figure it out. And still, Hackman didn't say anything. They did the scene. And then that day, in the studio parking lot, Hackman called Costner over to his car and he's like, oh boy. But then Gene said, you reminded me a lot of myself, when I was kind of younger a few years ago, and just you really care about what you're doing. And, I think it's great. But yeah, it was just kind
good.
of, yeah, no, I think he's a cool guy.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That guy, that's the kind that you don't like that he's not in as much. You're like, I want always to be the same age, just always be in movies.
I know.
How often have you been in a film? Like when you tell about the pig killing thing with it's kind of like, okay, this is more dramatic.
Oh,
and better than anything in the movie. And sometimes that you must both have had experiences of people going off or whatever and going, can we get this on film?
Oh gosh, so much. Or just like being around like funny crew people, be like, this guy's funnier than anything we're doing.
Than everything in the movie.
Like this the Teamster that I talked to every day. Where it's I just remember like kind of being on set one day, like trudging to set, and they're like, God, I can't believe it's only Tuesday. And this Teamster was like, it's Thursday, Luke. I'm like, no, man, it's only Tuesday. It's like, it's Thursday. It's always Thursday. That was this guy's like motto.
The attitude,
his thing.
It's always Thursday.
I had a Teamster.
Only one day to go.
Yeah.
Every day is one day to go.
You ever have a crew guy stand next to you, Luke, and then they go, you might not have this because they say the fucking ballsy shit sometimes. One guy goes, this one's a little light on the laughs, huh? I'm like, what the fuck, this movie? But I'm like a hired hand. I didn't write it. I'm like, I mean, I don't know, dude. We're doing our best with it.
Oh yeah. Well, now
a little
it's just,
soft.
Well, now it's just like, people texting, like you look over and see that.
They're talking about you.
Like, well, do I want this guy, texting or smirking at me or looking at me? What the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah,
but
talking
it really
about
is
you.
funny. But yeah, definitely those, what you were saying, so many instances of like, God, if the movie could be as good as what's going on in the making of the movie,
behind the scenes. When I was doing Road to Wellville with Anthony Hopkins, the smartest guy in the set was the head of makeup, and his name happened to be Peter Frampton. But he could dissect the script, why it's working. That's the one. No, I mean, it was effortless for him. I go,
I hope he stood behind the director.
Well, that was an Irish. That crew was Irish, I guess, or Scottish, whatever. But after the lunch break, the entire camera area smelled like Guinness beer. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, everybody would have like 8 or 10 pints to come out for the second part of this.
Jesus.
Oh,
and there was a whole drama with the director and this woman, and you'd be screaming, and he's hungover, and then he's going after it. Like, so anyway, the making of movies.
Well, no, that's I just heard someone saying, like, talking about Cinecittà, the famous Roman studio. I've never gotten to work there, but this actor was saying, like, yeah, I always like working at Cinecittà, and you'd go to lunch and everyone would drink wine and you go back to work. But I mean, I do kind of can't help but romanticize those old days of filmmaking. Although I am kind of glad I missed that the 80s in Hollywood sound a little dicey in terms of
for safety.
Well, just like just night shoots and like guys, kind of. Doing drugs on the different trucks and
I think that might still be going on. I don't love night shoots. I don't love some sets are actually really fun. Dana, some are fun, some are fucking work. And it's
and then there is the classic thing where you have a great time on a set, and the thing doesn't work, and then there are those times when it's been a grind and it does work. Or you hear about like Deborah Winger and Richard Gere hated each other on Officer and Gentleman, and it just seems like this incredible love story where,
And what is the alpha male thing of like, do we have to shoot 25 hours straight? Because the crew, the first day, the crew looks fresh faced. 3 weeks in, they look like 100 years older. Like, yeah, we're gonna go triple overtime tonight, and it's like the most tired I've ever been in my life. Literally, was when I was walking to Stan Mikita's. I was gonna do Garth singing and dancing a song called Foxy Lady. And I'm walking there, and I'd been on the set 21 hours. I thought, this is crazy. Like the most tired I've been in my life. Now I've got to bring it to this thing I dreamed of my whole life. But
I think they're actually kind of now, like, because I just worked on something that had these really long hours, but I would come in on a Tuesday and a Thursday and do a scene or two. So I'd always be in a great mood. And just over the course of 4 months, people were just a little less friendly every time I went back.
And some people have rapophobia.
What do you mean? They were just angry? Or
well, just getting kind of worn out. Whereas, like, first week it's like, introduce yourself to like the camera grip. He's like, hey, my man, like, big fan. Like, we're gonna have a good time together, buddy. It's gonna be great. And a month later, it's like, hey, Luke, how you doing? Then
hey, Luke, your line's sick.
And then I was like, it's called a mark. If you could hit it, it'd be great. If you need a sandbag, we can do that. But you got to hit it because that's what it's lit for.
The DP's on his back under some kind of camera rig, reaching up like this, holding a light. All right, let's go.
I'm always standing by some union teams are going, we're never going to use this shot. I'm like, I listen, I can't, I have to do it. Whatever it is, I got to do it. They point me. I try to chime in and chirp up. You can't get away with shit. They're just like, it's a grind. People want to fill that day. They got to fill.
I don't know if I jinxed it, but I was on Little Nicky, and it was one of Adam Sandler, who's our biggest movie star. But anyway, I remember it was a night shoot, and it's like a Halloween film or something, because everyone's a little monster
or something.
And I'm standing next to Jack Jarabuto, the producer. I just, without thinking, I said, "Is this gonna work?"
Because it's so hard.
Well, I remember I would say that to like, Mike Judge on Idiocracy. We'd be doing something, and I'd say like, Mike, is this too much?
Is it too dumb?
Right. And Mike would say, you don't think it's funny? And I was like, Mike, I think it's funny, but I mean, I'm completely immature. I'm like, 14 inside. I of course think it's funny. I'm thinking about the critics and regular citizens.
Citizens. Yeah.
We had Mike on this podcast.
I know. That was great.
And he's funny.
And the visual on the Zoom, when he goes into it was making me laugh so hard because he would become the character he does.
Oh, yeah.
Subtly.
And you can see him kind of like swallow and like turn. And speaking of like friends.
King of the Hill guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of friends, like I can remember Mike talking about these guys that he'd grown up with, and he might have even talked about it on your show, but somehow, they were all kind of, 12 to 14, and somehow they mentioned, Teddy Kennedy running for president. And one of the friends said, yeah, no, he can never be president because of Chappaquiddick. And then one friend said, yeah, no, he'll never get to be president because of Chappaquiddick. And they're like, no, Danny, you don't know what the hell Chappaquiddick is. And then they got into it. He said, yeah, I do. I'm not stupid. I know what Chappaquiddick is. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And he was like, Chappaquiddick is it's a bird.
It's a bird. That's why you can't run?
Yeah.
Because of a bird?
No, this guy didn't know what Chappaquiddick.
No, I'm saying it's funny, but that's made sense to him. Yeah. He's like, right, because the whole bird thing.
Was it David Fry who did an album that had part of that on it? It was somewhere I remember a comedian, maybe it was Monty Python. And the line was Kennedy saying, when I return, Mary Jo and the car were gone. I just remember that. I don't know.
God, picture with Twitter back then. Everyone would be fucking analyzing everything back. You couldn't kill anyone back then.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. Today it's tougher. Look at Dana just did a baby Trump. You see this for me?
Yeah. This is baby Trump.
Hey.
It's a baby Trump.
Like
a baby.
organism.
He comes up. It's happening. Venus
if they
Trump.
cut the sound off with his hands these days, with this, the
He's
accordion,
this.
and then the little thing with his form finger and thumb. We'll go in there and they said this, and the baby comes out, and they do it. Sorry, you can't say that. The baby comes out, and a lot of times. A lot of times, many people are saying it.
Everyone's saying it.
Everyone's saying it.
A lot of people.
No, I don't. It was the best person in history of the world. That's why I'm going to step
My granddad always said, Joey. I mean, he always gets me with that because I lean in like he would politely with kind of an older person. So he said, what? Your granddad said what?
What did he say?
Dad lost his job.
No, Joe. You can't do that.
I like when he said they're trying to push him out. He goes, I'm not going anywhere. He goes, one time in the playground, Corn Pop gave me some fucking lip, told me to get off the playground. I said, I've never bashed his fucking brains in. I'm like, all right, maybe it's time. Okay. I fucking pushed that motherfucker. Okay. Dana likes that one. Look, Luke.
Look, and why is it coming up? Now you got one.
I don't know. I can make it happen.
Like what I like during that, the whole kind of, is he going to stay in or get out? Like, I guess this is just last week, but
yeah.
Was it Jim Clyburn? I don't know where this guy's from, but
Clyburn,
Clyburn, but he said, I am all in. I am riding with Biden.
That's his last thing before he quits.
Yeah, it was great. He had me saying that for a day. I am all in. I am riding with Clyde. I'm riding with Biden.
Yeah.
I'm riding with Biden, and whatever Joe wants to do, I will support him 100%. What? Dropped out? Well, fuck me with a spoon. I don't understand.
Kamala.
I never liked him. That guy was a demented cadaver from day one. But 3 seconds ago, you said he was articulate.
One foot in the grave.
Get out of my face, about bitch. Yesterday when I want to talk about the future of this country.
This guy's living in the past.
Yeah.
You living in the past, and I'm talking about making things happen fast and going towards excellence.
I'll tell you what happened. I think that whole crew behind Biden gaslit themselves. And that's why they agreed to that first debate. I think it'd be good. You think it'd be good? Yeah. Let's put them out there with Trump.
No training wheels. Push them out.
Oh, no. The puppet needs a puppet master. And this don't look good. I don't know what character this is, but it's my new character.
It's good. And I like how when you do it, somehow your camera thing starts shaking.
Oh, well, that's because I have a rickety.
Oh, maybe give him a Japanese earthquake.
It's like the comedy quake.
Mm-hmm.
This is something you can't do anymore, but we'll just do it. This is a Japanese man in an earthquake. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it?
Tremor? It went away. It's fine. Wait, something's going on. It's cutting out his sound
too. We've done this before in the podcast.
I know, it's good.
You're not going to get It's great, though.
That's
You're
on
not going to get canceled.
That's on Superfly, yeah. We never done it over here.
I used to do a bit about the origin of languages. This is part of a longer bit of where accents came from. And with the Japanese, I thought maybe it was all the seismic activity begat this is, and so
makes no sense.
I didn't do it for a while.
I'm talking about the origins of accents here. Okay, you're getting fixated on this.
Yeah. And I bust myself. Why would anyone go across Europe with their sleeping bags? Let's go find a place to live and take a hard right and go to Scandinavia. They had to be stupid. That's why they talk like this. Let's get in the snow, okay? Hey. So I make fun of my tribe.
What are you guys, by the way? What is your heritage?
Irish, Scottish, Swedish, and Norwegian. What about David? You're up.
I think
I'm seeing a lot of Dane and a lot of German when I look at this fella.
Yeah,
I see German.
A lot of pasty shit. We shouldn't all be on the same Zoom. It's making me and Dane look bad. But you're like tan. Is that golf related or what is it? Because I'm angry about it.
I live 100 miles away from the person who cuts my hair. So that's why.
No, your hair's got a little flip in the very, very middle. It looks good.
I don't know what's going on with it, but I live 100 miles away. Should I get a more localized haircutter person? Maybe right now.
Where do you live? Do you live up north of LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm out in the woods.
Nice.
He lives in an undisclosed
Good,
location.
nice little estate. Yeah, I think I know the name of the town. I guess I'll not say it because I don't.
Don't say it.
Because I don't want to.
Wow.
What would be the equivalent of Swifties for Carveys? I don't want any
Yeah, I
Carveys.
got some Carveys.
I don't want any Carveys going out there.
By the way, pop quiz, fellas. You ever met a Carvey? You've met
No
a
way.
Carey. You've met a Garney. But if you ever met a Carvey,
Met a Carney.
you've never met because there's only 5 of us in North America.
Jesus.
No, that's good, and not a lot of spades too.
Not too many spades. Got the Spade Brigade over here.
God, Spade's a great name for Ace of Spades. He's got these
Yeah,
all-
it is. I mean,
he's got a
I
lot of-
remember Chris Rock goes, Spade, everybody thinks we made up our names. I didn't. Did you? I go, no. And he goes, now, Farley, I've heard that one before.
But even Farley somehow, matched Farley.
He's the Farley, though.
Yeah, he is the Farley, and somehow it was a great kind of name for him.
That's a great one. Yeah,
It's
it's
kind
like
of
a big dog.
It's kind
like
of
a-
lovable and
yeah.
but kind of crazy sounding.
Yeah, you're right. And Chris Rock suits. It's such a great
Rock. That
show
seems
showbiz
perfect
name.
And
for
then
him.
he's out there. Yeah,
Like Belushi. Belushi was
Belushi's
perfect
a
for him,
good
and
one.
that's a perfect example. That's like a Carvey. Had never heard that before.
I never heard Belushi.
Mm-hmm.
Aykroyd is a good weird one that you don't hear a lot.
Hey, look, I was going to ask you guys, because in terms of SNL, like,
Mhm.
I did you guys have a thing where once high school, because I just gone to do Seth Meyers, like a month ago, and that 8H hallway where it's chronological order, all the, those great cast shots where I, started at the very beginning and, 75 and, which I
Watched it get worse.
wouldn't have seen as a kid. But then when I started watching, kind of late 70s with my, my dad and brothers. But then did you guys have a thing right around maybe 9th or 10th grade, when you started doing something on Saturday night when you could stay out till like midnight, where I feel like I missed quite a few years. And of course, you couldn't see things viral. But yeah, I feel like I missed a few, seasons because it's when I'd started kind of, hanging around with friends on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And even in 7th and 8th, grade, you're at home, you're not going out.
You can't go out too late. That's the pocket of when you like a cast.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Where you really.
What was your cast?
I mean, that would have been the Eddie Murphy, that would have been like kind of, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13. But then
You're 68, so that would be. I don't know how old you are. No, Luke, you're not. You're young.
No,
I'm just-
we want you
Dana-
born in
Dana
1980.
Dana, did you watch those first, like the 75ers and the 76?
Yeah, I mean, two things to unpack here. One is I never learned. I love that phrase. I never learned how to program a VCR or record, so I had to watch it live. I don't know when the VCR came in, but I was in college during those years, and I definitely copied Dan Aykroyd's Jimmy Carter and stuff like that. So I was aware of all that and having that dream, but I would miss shows because I was doing. Toward that later part of the 70s, I was working clubs, and there'd be a second show, and I'd be on stage.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, when I got off SNL, I was working a lot, had a family, and I never learned how to program a VCR. So I did miss a lot of shows.
Yeah. That's
Now
interesting.
everything's, I know.
Yeah.
But
you have to
now-
catch the rerun. back then.
Yeah, of course. Now tape it, watch them all, or see it live.
So- Twitter,
Well,
YouTube.
You guys, if you don't know about this, Peacock, I'll do a little plug, at 8:30 Pacific time, you get to watch the show live.
Oh,
I think
live
even
in
on
California.
think even on satellite, Dish TV, it comes on early, which is always nice.
Yeah. So
You don't really earn it though. You used to have to stay up. Which
Yeah,
is tough.
yeah.
11:30 was tough
Yeah,
as a kid.
10:30 in Dallas, it came on. Yeah.
My dad would yell at me. No, he wouldn't. He left. He left early. He left when I was 4. I think we
guys-
should just wrap it up with that.
you guys missed the fun part was going to a drive-in movie. Me and 2 of my brothers. I had 3 older brothers. All night creature features. All night Vincent Price, strangling, murder, mayhem.
Who took you there? Oh,
Brad.
damn it, Dana.
Brad.
Was it your dad?
No, Brad, the guy who played Garth.
Oh, he took you to the, and you guys just fucking crashed there.
Yeah, we're just little brothers. He could
fun.
stay up all night. I would not make it all the way to dawn. But
you were the youngest of four, Dana?
I had a younger sister.
Okay.
But I was the youngest brother. They wanted a girl. I was the fourth one. So can we at least give them a girl's name? So that's why they got that. Better than Susan. Good night.
So you're three boys. Mine was three boys.
Oh, kid.
Four boys.
Four.
Boys.
And Luke, what were you?
Three boys.
Yeah.
And where were you in the birth order, Dave?
I'm last. I was the youngest.
Really? Interesting.
I guess the youngest isn't really used with me a lot anymore, but I was the youngest and I was really super adorable. And these are other people's words.
I know.
And,
I saw you on that.
My dad said we were a hassle. I swear later, I go, I love that you wanted to have kids and you split. And he goes, you're a fucking hassle, man. I go, that's what we're going with. That's your company line. And no one's told you that's not what you should say to your kids. He's like, hey, you're a fucking pain in the ass.
I remember my dad one time losing his temper with us saying, when you all three get together, you're your own lowest common denominator. I was so bad at math, but I just knew that was that. Okay,
I don't even, sounds bad.
Good.
We would have fought you if the Carvey brothers, different era. If we were up with you, Wilson guys, there would have been fist fights.
What?
For sure.
Why? Just
because my dad had a
asses?
boxing ring and we had boxing gloves, and we would have boxing
beat the shit out of each other.
Boxing match.
I mean, isn't it amazing about the teasing that goes on in families? And I feel like just like with the Owens, two little boys, they're 10 and 13, but they're really nice to each other. I mean, there's like a little teasing going on, but I mean, when we were growing up, it was
brutal.
It was really,
my brother wanted to kill me. My brother wanted me out.
Yeah. I remember I was really excited. I got these white suede Docksiders that I'd saved up money to get. And, I mean, boy, talk about regretting a purchase. Once my brothers and my dad started making fun of me about these babies.
Your dad?
Oh, my dad.
Your dad jumped in.
My dad called them the Dusties. He's like, yeah, why don't you tell put the Dusties on. Let's go get some breakfast.
What does that mean?
What did they look like? I'm sorry.
You know Docksiders, right?
I only know desert
Topsiders.
Like
the shoes with the strings through them almost.
Exactly, and the
leather.
Oh, okay.
They were
because you were near the water.
No, we weren't, but they were. They were.
I had them when I was in Arizona.
So.
Those
kind of boat shoes. Yeah, that would be humiliating.
And guys wore them around, in the late 70s, early 80s. But somehow I got a pair of white suede ones I discovered.
God damn.
Yeah,
I would have jumped in on that beating.
I would have teased you. I would have gone. I would have gone to town on that, man.
You look like fucking a racer.
You set up everybody in that family.
It's either like, when you're in that position of wearing the Dusties, you either, get your feelings hurt and be like, hey, you start laughing about it yourself.
It's hard to have pride when everyone hates them.
Before we go, I want to give Luke a specific compliment because I noticed it and mentioned it to my wife because she saw the movie with me. So we're watching Horizon and we're loving it because I just love Westerns. And the scene, you're kind of the head guy of this wagon train. Yeah. And so these two creepy guys kind of are looking at a woman cleaning herself and stuff. So, and then you're just trying to make the thing go fine, get everything under control. But the way you went up and approached these guys who clearly didn't give a fuck about you, they were ready to kill you, but you were really talking to them. And then the guy stood up. He's like, and then your reaction of where you decide in your, okay, I'm not going to fight over this right now, was really, really compelling. I don't know. I just really remember because I put myself in your shoes. You gotta go talk to these guys and tell them to stop doing this. And it's like so awkward. But I thought the scene was great.
Oh, thanks. That's funny you say that. That's where, Kevin Costner, he's really good and sensitive as a director. Like, because he'll go through it all and he'll start kind of acting it out physically. He's like,
thinking it
he's
out.
Like, and you don't want to go up to these fucking guys. You don't want to go back to your family. It's late. You've been on the trail all day. You've been out here 3 months. You don't want to go talk to these guys, but they've been helping you, but you got to go up there. They can't do what they've been doing. So,
I love it.
He really kind of talks
Costner.
through it. And then it's just one of those things where I'll think like, okay, if I could just kind of do it just like Kevin was doing it when he was showing it to me, that would be good. But thank you for saying that. And thank you for watching it with Mrs. Carvey. And, we'll get Dave to watch it all.
Yeah, I'm waiting for part 2. I'm going to do a whole thing at once.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. A little Horizon Marathon.
What's the new one with the?
We got to mention that.
Arlington. Were you in Arlington, right by your house or something?
Oh yeah, I was at the All-Star game where where I'd taken out the game ball for the All-Star game. And I took a couple of friends with me that I'd grown up with were there. And, they were kind of making fun of me and the fact that it wasn't televised. And they kept saying that I was the guy that gave the ball to the guy that gave the ball to the guy that gave the ball that put it on the mound. Just that it wasn't very.
That's an important job.
Right. But I have this Little League movie coming out called You Gotta Believe in late August that me and Greg Kinnear did. So that'll should be.
Yeah, because I saw it. Did you shoot it in Arlington, by the way?
We unfortunately shot it, or not unfortunately, but it was set in Fort Worth. But it's just one of those things where in order to get more bang for your buck,
because I thought you shot it in Fort Worth.
No, we went to Canada. I wish we had shot in Fort Worth.
Really? Because they did a good job.
Yeah, I'm sure they got some exterior Fort Worth shots, but yeah, it's a good little story and it's funny. And I mean, I know you guys have worked with kids before, but it's one of those things where it's kind of funny just being around these kids all day and then their parents where, Kinnear and I had fun working with them. I had to kind of yell at them a couple of times. Oh, you guys need to focus.
Yeah, for sure. But this is a new wave of kids too. It's like, like kids when we were kids, and you're like, this isn't anything like probably the kids we used to hang out with at Little League.
Oh gosh, no. It was kind of like Bad News Bears, meets the Warriors when we were growing up.
The Warriors. Oh, I love both those movies. My God.
But it's based on a true story, and it's the longest Little League World Series in history, and stuff happens. And
it's this team that kind of came, this ragtag team that came out of nowhere from Fort Worth and just kind of kept winning and got all the way to the Little League World Series and had these two coaches, one of whom the guy I play that was kind of got ill and wasn't able to coach the team. So then Kinnear's character kind of takes the team over. But yeah, it's a really good.
Reluctantly takes it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kinnear and I had a fun working together because we're friends and
he seems cool.
Play a lot of golf together, and it's nothing like you guys know. There's nothing more fun than making a movie with friends. And gosh, that's the thing that so great about what Sandler does is putting those groups, and you get to do that with them.
Oh, you were in the Ridiculous Six.
I mean that's where I got to see the whole how the operation works, and it just seems like heaven. Just getting to be around your friends, having a manageable schedule, and Adam really sets the tone. And those guys, I just saw Adam and those guys are getting ready to go do Happy Gilmore too. Just getting ready to go have some fun again, and then get to make something that people will. I mean,
Happy Gilmore will be a good one. I mean, that's something looking forward to.
I think that's a great idea. And Sandler does kind of he's the overriding force in the film. Yeah. And so what he says goes. He has all his pieces in place, works with a lot of the same people. So yeah, it's all about having fun, and he knows what it's like.
Oh yeah,
when it's your take in front of the camera. You just gotta go in there. You do it. I'm sorry, David. Give me a Sandler. You gotta go in there.
I remember from the Ridiculous Six, where it was a comedic western, but Frank Coraci, Sandler's friend, was directing it, and Sam would always imitate Frank, and Frank was great with comedy and really fun to work with. But at one point he was saying, so then you guys come out of the saloon and then you go over to the cart and you jump in the cart, and Adam was like, "It's a wagon! It's a fucking wagon!" But just being out in the middle of nowhere in the desert of New Mexico and having these two guys like Adam from New Hampshire, I'm not sure where Frank's from.
I would. Fun. My stuff was with Blake Shelton and Vanilla.
Right, because I remember that house you guys filmed at.
Yeah, we shot in a house. We did like a card game. We know this game when there's 6 people around. It takes a full day to shoot, or 2 days to shoot one scene, and it was a blast.
Were you Mark Twain?
I don't think so. I was Colonel.
Oh.
No, Vanilla Ice was Mark Twain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm sure he's played Mark Twain in many
Vanilla
things.
Ice was really good in that scene. I remember watching I mean, he was.
No, we had a blast.
Robbie.
All right. Oh, yeah. Luke, we'll have to play golf again one day because we played one time and I kind of was a puss, Dana. It was super hot like it was yesterday. And then
Did you just go 9?
Luke took me 9. I was with my buddy Jody. And then I told him, I got a bad neck. I can do 9. Yeah. We get to 9. He goes, "You're not fucking going anywhere." And so he drove through that little tunnel. You didn't let me get out. And then here we are playing 18, sweating sickeningly. But I think I'm better. I think I'm about 0.5% better than I was.
I'm getting worse and worse as I'm getting older. But it is nice to get out there and be outside.
No, it's definitely fun. I want to look like you when we get outside.
The only way to enjoy it is just assume you're terrible.
Yeah.
And you don't take it seriously. And usually you get one good shot per hole that's decent, either your chip or putt or something.
Yeah. I yell pro
keeps
shot.
You coming back. But I look at people taking it. My brother would throw tantrums. I mean, he did a Tommy Hawk with his putter on the green, like, "What the fuck?" And I go, "Scott, you're terrible, and so am I. I mean, we're all awful."
Yeah.
It's hard not to get mad.
It is. I remember a story Pete Sampras told me about seeing Jack Nicholson at the golf course and said, "Hey, Jack, how you doing?" And Jack was like, Good. I came close today to giving up the game." And he was like, "Oh." and Nicholson said, "Yeah, I told myself if I ever broke 70, that's it." And I was right there. I was going to shoot a 69, and I 3-putted, so I get to keep playing. And Pete was like, "You shot a 70, Jack? That's great." I was like, "Yeah, I shot a 70."
On a par 9?
No. Yeah.
No one plays 9 but me, Dana. It's 18.
My older brother tried with a 9, tried to get over a little pond. And we've all hit
Tin cup.
And he's got a 9-iron.
Splash,
13 times.
Splash. Tin
He
cup.
would do, if you stood behind him, sometimes he'd hit the edge of the ball and it would whiff over your head. He was literally a danger to other players. He tried 13 times and didn't get it over, and he never golfed again. That was it. He walked off. He wasn't even mad. Just like, that's it.
I'm not good.
Then he would just caddy. He would just caddy for us.
I'm done. No more.
Done. That's it.
I'm done.
Thank you, Luke.
Hey, guys.
Luke,
thanks a ton. So nice to talk to you. The show is so funny and interesting. So really,
thank you.
Really enjoy listening to it. Listen to them all the time. So thank you. Keep knocking them out for us.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Let's all go to that restaurant that Neelan, Owen, you and I will bring Spade too.
Yeah, I would love to get dinner with you, Dana.
Yeah,
especially if there's a beginnings of a pandemic, then we'll go there.
Yeah,
just to repeat
that's the only reason we're gonna go.
Well, because then everything.
Let's hope we don't shut the world down again. Like somehow that trio, man, shut down civilization.
It's in Fauci's book. All right.
Okay, fellas. Guys. Thanks very much. Take it
thanks,
easy.
Luke.
Have a good rest of the summer.
Thanks, buddy. You too. It's
Ed
Helms, everybody.
Yep. You know the face. He does commercials. He was in the Vacation reboot, I think. Mm-hmm. I saw that. Funny. He was great on The Office. Obviously, the Hangover movies, you can't escape. They're so funny, and all 3 of them.
Yeah.
with Todd
we talk
Phillips
a lot
at the
about
helm.
that.
We get all the deets and ins and outs of those movies. And
Yes.
really fun guy. Looks young, Dana.
He really looked young because when you're on
Shimmery.
on the Zoom, you see your face and you see his face and you go, huh. What's
you go, what
different?
the fuck is going on? We look pretty young, but he's in better shape. So I'm going to start doing whatever that is.
He's got a later date on his birth certificate, but he is he's charming, likable, and funny, and tells some great stories. And one of the giant waves to go from The Office to the Hangover movie was just like,
I mean, my
sort of
God.
being shot out of a rocket ship or whatever they say.
Yeah,
So
that's
he's
what they say.
a funny young man, and he joins us, and I think you're going to enjoy this one, right, Ed?
Yes, enjoying the younger actors. Not that great.
No, it actually
All
was
right.
pretty good. I'm laughing because it was actually the right tone.
Very shimmery. Good skin.
All
Here it
right.
is. Ed Helms, guys.
Ed Helms. Ed Helms. Thanks for coming on.
Oh my God.
We love
This
having you.
This is a great privilege for me. I am very excited to be here.
Yeah.
Honored.
I mean,
I would say honored.
Oh, okay. I got up a
Only
little bit.
mildly.
thank you.
Only mildly.
Only mildly what?
Mildly embarrassed, but
Okay.
mostly honored.
But no mixed feelings. Hopefully.
Yes.
What I read a quote the other day. Someone said about Kamala Harris. It's not about her at all, but just the phrase "up the wazoo." I hadn't seen it. It was in the New York Times. Like she's got experience up the wazoo. I just put it out there for you guys as a starting off point for the podcast.
To talk about the
I haven't
term
heard that in a while.
It's gone away for sure.
It feels 1960s to me.
Is it new to you, Dana? Because I've definitely heard it before.
Is it
but I
new
feel
to you,
like-
Dana?
but I do feel like I haven't heard it since
Well,
college.
Ed, David, and Ed. No, I think it's very 60s, with bitchin' and
Sure.
stuff like that. You guys are younger than me, but we don't have to get into that.
Was there ever a wazoo?
There
what
was
is
a
a
thing. A
wazoo?
wazoo was like, it was a
that's a
little
kazoo.
metal. Oh fuck! I
That's
was one letter off.
Yeah, and
God damn it! Here's my
accent.
research.
But
Ed Helms.
there it is.
I saved these for my book.
Can
Jesus.
somebody Google
Wazoo.
wazoo? I want to
Yeah.
know what.
Heather, see what
maybe
it
it's-
is.
I would assume it's like
Colloquial.
right.
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the huge ass of an Arctic elk, it says. No, I don't know.
Oh God, you had me. It was such a good. It's
what
such
is
a
it?
specific.
A person's
Bottom.
anus.
That's there you go.
It says it in there. That's got to be slang.
A human anus.
That was a
Yeah,
record.
the sad part is this is part of the podcast. We
Yeah.
are.
Well, we always
okay,
say
good.
anus on the podcast at some point, but that was only
Well,
that was early.
242.
Anus is a very clinical term,
Mhm.
and I do find
And
it.
sexy.
I do find it funny when you mix like a formal doctor setting with like. I have a pain in my wazoo.
Right. When a doctor said to me, he goes, I said, I have a pain down here by my hip flexor. He said, it's here. There's a hip flexor. There's a tendon that goes right next to your nut sack. And I go, well,
Yeah,
let's
nickname
keep it
doctor
either
is
all
it's
medical
a funny
terms.
a funny sketch. Your man unit is experiencing difficulties. Yeah, it's Nick. What would it be? Nickname doctor. You would have done it on a segment on Jon Stewart.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
The
look
Daily-
how we got
Daily
into
Show.
that.
The
Look how we
Daily.
got into that.
yeah.
Well, because I remember you reminded me of Will Ferrell in the sense you're running around kind of naked around. You're like you have little bikini briefs on.
No
oh
way.
yeah. That was.
And then you lean down and you go, I got a camera under my ball. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's the blue shell, but yeah.
nutsack. Well, let's use the clinical term. It's a
Yeah.
nutsack.
Good. We've moved on
Um,
from the anus.
And yeah, you're referring to a field segment I did in which
on the
the-
Daily Show.
Point Pleasant, New Jersey had just reversed a decades-long ban on banana hammock type bathing suits or Speedo. And so they had banned those for men for decades. They reversed the ban. And so I, of course, went to Point Pleasant, New Jersey and wanted the Speedo point of view. So we put a camera under my nutsack and I walked the streets. God.
This is television. It sounds like filth.
It is absolute filth. I'm not proud of it.
No.
I'm mad it came up.
Yeah. Mad it aired.
Me and my darn research.
I am the Speedo Bandito. Have you ever worn one in real life?
I was a competitive swimmer in high school. I wore them all the time.
Oh my God.
When you say competitive, let's like what was your your stroke? What was your best stroke?
My bet. Well, let's talk stroking. I was good at freestyle and butterfly. Those were my strokes. Yeah,
butterfly's kind of violent. I mean, it's weird.
I don't know. I think it's elegant. It's like a kind of dolphin.
When you can,
it's like very beautiful. It's yeah.
So, what was your resting pulse when you were like 17 in the morning? Because I did track and field and intervals and all that stuff.
Dana's into pulses and things.
My resting pulse was 34.
You knew your resting pulse in
Is that good or bad? I don't even know.
What was all the rage? What was your pulse rate? You know,
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know what it is now.
Could you get back to us maybe after the podcast?
I will. I'll check.
Dana's like, I met my wife. We were talking about pulses one day and
just connected.
Just sort of a common interest. Yeah. So you swim. Is freestyle the one where you go one arm?
That's the classic.
That's like the straight ahead basic
Tarzan swim.
Yeah. Is there a treading water? There's not that, is there?
No, not in. I mean, water polo guys do that.
Do they touch the ground or they don't touch the ground?
No, they don't touch the bottom at all.
Oh, and
same with what do you call it? Synchronized swimming. Like they don't even They don't
cross out one more Olympic sport I won't be doing.
But you had to have been crazy fit swimming like that.
What's coming to mind? Yeah, I was in good shape. I was in really good shape in high school. And then I stopped.
Yeah, what happened?
You're in good shape now. Life's been good to you. I want to meet your dermatologist.
Yeah, you look good, dude. I don't know if
my dermatologist is Zoom. I have the little what is the facial facial smoothing.
Blurry background is a good way to maybe look better or worse because it's so much focus on just
What's your app? Because I want to get it with the blurred background. You look filmic right now.
I think you have.
I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to give you guys a little tech support on how to look hot. HAWT. I want you to go into your camera menu.
I like
in this. Your. Well, I'm actually.
What's that?
Where's
the camera?
Don't you love how tech support people always say, "All right, do me a favor. Go to your file menu."
I like go to your dashboard. I go in my car.
Yeah.
They go, and you just
do me a favor. Do me a favor. Go
do me
to
a
this.
favor.
Do me a favor.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Do you see what do you see right now?
You mind if I share your screen?
Big blur.
I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah, let me take over your screen. I'm just gonna dip forever. I'm gonna dip into your personal accounts.
If
your
it's
photos.
Okay with you,
just give me complete control over this.
Do you care if I close this window that says bonerlicious.com? And I go, no, go ahead. I don't need that anymore. I'm almost straight faced when they talk about porn. I go, no, that's fine.
No, hold on. Could you just leave that one? Do you need to close it?
What does closing windows do to help? Just leave it. Just push it to the side.
Is it taking up
RAM? You gotta close windows. You gotta close. You gotta close the windows.
Oh yeah, that's Trump. When
Sorry, I had to throw in a little Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, Trump tech support. That is a good.
You gotta close the windows. We're gonna close
the windows. We're gonna close more windows. They've never seen windows closed like this. This is the window closing. Do me a favor.
Go to your file menu.
JD, get in here. He's young. He's vibrant. Look at the beard and the blue eyes. Get in here.
Get in. You don't need.
Hey, Dad.
You don't need a filter. I hate to talk your regular job stuff, but when you do the Daily Show, so do you have to be somewhat political? You just have to be funny, right? They don't it's just like what happens in politics. They find a spin on it, and then they say maybe this will be funny to do a field piece kind of thing.
Yeah, I would imagine it's comparable to the kind of SNL cultural satire, right?
Yeah.
You're just kind of looking at what's happening and trying to figure out. Usually, so the formula for field pieces, which is what I did the most of, was very simple. It was sort of like find a news item, like for example, that Point Pleasant, New Jersey story, and then just take the dumbest possible stance. or in the case of one I did about a guy who was like, who was anti, like trying to, what was he? He was trying to start a straight pride parade in Boston, I think. So obviously he's like a jerk. And then the formula is you just take his side, and then or you just take the wrong side.
Do you ever go with him and say, let's do this? And then he doesn't know he's being clowned or whatever.
Well, yeah. I sat with that guy. We did an interview. There was another guy that was trying to do he was a libertarian, and he started it was ironic, but it was to make a statement. He started a Guns for Tots program, and just to make his like libertarian statement, and it was like giving away free gun toys to children on playgrounds.
It's a tough sell.
So I
had toy guns, guilty.
Yeah, I had toy guns. I shot every kid on the block.
I had real guns. No, it was but he was so ridiculous. And then a lot of times people, they might even know the Daily Show already, but they think that they can sort of outsmart you.
Yeah.
So you sit with them, and it was a little, I will say, like, kind of the disingenuous part of it was hard for me, because I grew up in the South. I'm very people pleasy. I just want to like make people comfortable and laugh and have a nice time and a nice hangout. And I'm suddenly in this job where I have to sit across from someone and try to make them squirm or ask like horrible.
That gets me itchy.
Questions. Yeah. And so there was a little bit of just something that went against my grain somehow. And I kind of forced myself to do it. I did love, it was fun to find those really rare moments of like extreme comedy in those moments of tension. But I think I gravitate more towards just good scripted comedy. Like, the SNL stuff was always, that was just like probably everyone that you interview, that was my dream, was to be on SNL and to have your job. And I just looked up to guys like you, and it was, so that was always, and then the Daily Show became, all right, this feels like something I can do also. And my favorite parts on the Daily Show were actually the scripted segments, the studio chats, like with John, where I'd be like at a green screen, in Baghdad or whatever. And those were really more like sketches.
That's fun because you write them ahead of time. You know where the beats are. You think it's going to kill up front.
Yeah.
And at least you have faith in it. I've done field pieces, and I produced a prank show. That made me so itchy. And then field pieces, my theory, I did some on SNL too, where it's have a wispy idea, go out, shoot 12 and a half hours, and get a 2.5 minute bit.
Yeah. Yeah. If you shoot enough footage, you're going to get something you can
get an extra laugh out of a fucking reaction shot or something. Just get something, because sometimes you get it and you go, this is a little thin, guys. And then they go, well, let's get in there, and they edit it and they add something, a little music, and you go, okay, not too shabby,
Yeah, true. You're absolutely right. It was those field pieces were built in the edit, and sometimes they fell apart in the edit. There were field pieces I did that just died in the edit room. It was like, there's just no way to save this, which was that's when you walk out like, oh, I'm getting fired today. This is not working out.
Dana, I did one where I went to a plastic surgeon, and we were running out of bits, and I go, let's just go. And then I go, what would you do to me? It's like, the dumbest thing because it got real quick. So he goes, let's just take a quick picture of you. And I go, well, and I started getting a little weird. I go, well, like this is already going sideways on me. Because he goes, oh, there's a lot we could do to you. And I go, okay, this wasn't the way in my head it was going to go. And then he takes one picture and then he goes, hang on. I'm sitting across from his desk. I'm looking at the camera and I'm like, it was funnier the fact that I was sickened by it. Then he turns and he goes, okay, here's the 14 things I would do to you. And 9 of these are like non-negotiable. Like you have to do by noon tomorrow. I'm like, what? He goes, take a little off the nose, take a little off your eyes, take a little off your hair, take a little off your forehead, and we could get you up to an 8. And I'm like, well, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And then I just walk out.
Wait a minute.
I got hit by a car. I'm like, hello,
he
darkness.
used 8 as a
8 is the maximum?
Yeah. He goes, listen, we're not a fucking miracle workers. He goes,
what did he say? You
125 grand,
were?
you can get to an 8 from a 4.7. I go, well, who said I was a 4? What are numbers are going to go? Are we polling people? Because I ran into the zip check on a computer.
Did that air? Can I watch that?
Yeah, I think on somewhere?
I think that was from Lights Out. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Showbiz Show.
That's brutal.
It's brutal, dude.
It's brutal. Who is this guy?
That guy's mean.
He took
it
seriously. He goes, oh yeah, like I've been waiting for a guy like you to walk in. He goes, we're gonna fix you right up.
Oh, there's so much you can do.
Oh my god,
you're
tell me you have no budget.
You're a piece of clay. I can mold you.
You're literally like a piece of clay that hasn't been shaped, just a blobby piece of blob. And
I don't know if this is true or not, or if it's a wives' tale that George Burns went in at 96 and got some work done. No, I'm kidding.
All that way? It took us all that way.
I just thought it was a funny idea of even at 96.
He got 5 of his 35 wrinkles removed.
Dude,
it was hard to tell.
What about when you see like
35.
the Golden Girls were all like, 31 years old, and you're like, wait, on the show? Like, no wonder people thought 50-year-olds were so horribly old. It's like, Archie Bunker was 36 on that show. I'm like, good
I
God.
know. Do you ever watch old movies and just look up the age of the actors? You can't, right? John Wayne was 47 here. He looks wasted.
Yeah.
Him rough. And Ward Bond doing shots, smoking 100 cigarettes.
It's like they put whiskey on their face in the morning. It just looks like.
I think it was cool. They said John Wayne when he died. Have you ever heard this rumor? They found 55 pounds of dead meat in his colon that had
that wasn't that Elvis. It was impacted
he had a 55
fecal
pound
matter.
Turd.
No, it's impacted fecal matter is the actual medical
turd. This was cow meat that was still so raw that a good doctor could have brought it back to life.
Well, I know I got a lot
some fresh
in there.
burgers out of it.
Yeah, you got thrown on the grill. By the way, the last thing on this was the Daily Show. Do you audition? Do you do a fake field piece, or how do you get on there? Or
that was your first big thing, right?
Yeah, that was definitely my first big thing. I'll give you a little bit of the ramp into it. Mm-hmm. I graduated from college, and in the back of my head, I was like, I'm gonna get on SNL. Like that is my. I didn't tell anybody. I was very sort of. I mean, only maybe 1 or 2 of my closest friends knew how driven I was on that. And I moved to, but then I was like, well, how do I do that? And I was looking at
the problem.
I totally agree.
Right. But I really was like analytical about it. And I was looking at you guys and others and how they had like the paths. And it became clear. It's like, you've got your groundlings sort of, pathway through Los Angeles. But then you also had this crop of New York City stand-up comedians like Adam Sandler and even Eddie Murphy and guys like that. Yeah. And I just felt like for some reason the stand-up comedy, and you, that's your background too, Dana, right? The stand-up.
Yeah, I was a pure stand-up. The Groundlings didn't exist in San Francisco. There was a couple of improv groups, but I didn't know anything about sketch comedy groups. So I did stand-up. So
yeah.
That was
what I was like, this feels like what I can do. It's kind of entrepreneurial. I can if I just apply myself, I can work my way up. And that's what I did. I just moved to New York, started doing all the open mics and gradually kind of got some, and I started auditioning for commercials and all the all that stuff. So
wait a minute. Were you terrified? I mean, your first set. I mean, how hard was that leap? Did you do enough theater in high school or college?
Yeah, I did. I did a lot of theater.
Oh.
I did a lot of theater in high school and then a little bit in college, but theater was not what I wanted to do. But I started doing stand-up the summer after my junior year in college. I did my first set at Stand Up New York. And
and what were you like initially? Like, who were you doing characters, voices, setups when you're writing all your stuff? I mean,
yeah.
That does train you to write.
I would say, like, one of my favorite comedians at the time, and well, it still is Brian Regan. And I just always loved his...
Love him.
Yeah. What a genius. And I just loved his... he would like describe something and then slip into the goofy character in that situation. Yeah. And so that was sort of how I would model my bits. Like, I would just sort of set something up and then kind of place myself in it, in like a dumber, goofier.
Like you say, I like when the guy at the gym comes up to you. Hey, you using those weights? You know, just whatever you turn into the guys. Yeah. He's good at that. Yeah.
I had these are so embarrassing, but I had.
I want to hear them.
I had one of my this was like my closer for a while. Was this long bit about how awkward it must be to be a goldfish, because when they poop, the strand of poop like stays attached to their body for a while they swim around. And so I would do this whole bit of like, what if that, like, then I would be like, imagine that happened to you at a bar and you like go to the bathroom and you come back and you're like trying to like strike up a conversation, but you have like a string of poop, and it just went on, and it was but it was me in character basically as myself trying to sort of explain away this.
What was the final line of that bit? And then you said, "I'm Ed Helms. Good night." Yeah. What was the actual last line? Well, so the poo remains attached.
Thank you. Good night.
Oh my gosh! I finally had to say, does anybody have some scissors?
Yeah, something like that.
And then you guys, thanks for coming down to Sir Laughs.
Hey, you guys have been great. You guys have been great.
Well, then I eventually dropped that one, and my next big one was going, like, it was a little story about taking a taxi and then getting out of the taxi and thanking the taxi driver, and then getting on an elevator and going up the elevator, and then I get to my floor and I step off and I turn around and thank the person still standing in the elevator for the elevator ride. And that was sort of a setup for me to just talk about all of my social awkwardness, which was has always been
a lot of thank yous,
somewhat extreme. Yeah, just and then trying to explain to that person, like, oh, I'm sorry, I was in a taxi taking mindset. I hadn't switched over to the elevator taking mindset.
Yeah. I had one where someone's coming at the elevator and says, hold, please. And then you have to fake like you're trying to find the button.
Yeah.
I don't want this. Yeah. Everybody had an elevator.
I do that. I start on the ceiling. I go to the ceiling. Oh my God, is it up here? And then they're like, no, on the wall. I'm like, behind me? And they're like, oh, it's closed.
Every comedian did that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Army issue.
Yeah. Or racing to get on the subway, and you get it. I did this one for years. You race down the stairs and sprint down the platform, and you get on the train and you're like, and then the doors don't close for 5 minutes. And you're just standing there panting, having to explain, like, I'm sorry, I thought the doors were going to close. That's why I ran.
Yeah.
Why am I walking you through all of my the lowest point in my comedy?
Well, you're not using this anymore, and we're always in the hunt for a bit that's laying around.
You know what, Dana? You can have it.
You can have it.
You could have this.
People give me bits. You know, you should say, this guy, this works. This tells me a joke everyone knows. You can have it. You can have this one. That's yours.
I tried to give this to someone recently. An elevator bit. On the elevator with a guy or woman, whatever. They get off and they go, see you later. Should I be worried? What do you mean, see you later? Did I take a ride with Dexter? Come on.
Yeah, come on, Christ sakes.
Who is this guy?
So you have a big resume. I don't know where to go, but Daily Show. So stand up. You got good, and they saw you.
Well, I got into the
yeah,
sort of Comedy Central at the time. There were so many stand-ups doing like this premium blend show and all kinds. They were just they were sticking stand-ups everywhere, and I kind of got on the radar. And then the Daily Show, which at that point I was watching religiously because I had really fallen in love with the show, and I was feeling like I think I can do that. I was sort of studying it, and then kind of out of nowhere, I get this. They had this huge cattle call, and I go, and I'm really inexplicably arrogant. Like I really felt like I had done the homework, which is rare for me because I'm not good at preparing for things. But I just felt like I'd been working on my SNL audition. I had like a little stable of characters or whatever. But at the same time, I was like really studying Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell and those guys. And a friend of mine had auditioned maybe like a year before and hadn't gotten it. And I was like, yeah, like, of course you didn't get it because you didn't do the 5 things that they all do. How do you not know that? How did you? So I was just kind of a nerd about it. And I got out of the, few hundred cattle call people, I was one of 5 or 6 callbacks. And that was a sit down. That was a segment in the studio with John. So they give you a script. Now, ordinarily, again, I would be terrified, but they give me the script, and it was a script that Colbert had just done on the show like 2 weeks before. And I knew exactly how he did it and all of the tricks and stuff and the kind of like newscaster cadence. And which I learned from your Tom Brokaw, Dana.
One of my earliest bits was going back to that for a second, newscaster ordering dinner with his wife. And a surprise coming on my wife today. She'll have her steak medium rare and a cup of black coffee instead of the traditional cream and sugar. So it is a funny cadence. And you had it.
Yeah, it's like a weird, people don't realize that. And you see it in movies a lot when actors play newscasters. They don't get it right. Because it's totally its own thing. Yeah. But Colbert and Carell at the time and others, Mo Rocca, Vance DeGeneres, those guys were crushing it on the show.
Vance DeGeneres.
And crushing. By the way, I just want to ask you, what was it like when you met Carell and Colbert?
I was so nervous. That wasn't until I actually got cast, but I really... It's so funny thinking back on it. It was a basic cable Comedy Central show. Like it wasn't, and it became more of a phenomenon, but it really wasn't that big a deal in the world. But to me, it was my whole world. I was so excited, and I had to like pretend not to be excited and nervous because that's like that when you're too excited or nervous in a comedy setting, everyone's like, get out of here. Like you're totally ruining the vibe.
Gross.
It's just hard. Try not to try to be confident, not cocky. They're all in this clique and they have all their one-liners and you're the new guy. That's always hard.
Try not to try. That is literally advice I got the first week with a segment producer that I was working with. She was like, you're a little too eager. You're too excited to be here.
and that was Joe Biden was the segment producer. You're too eager. Guess what? The fact of the matter is, you're too eager.
Yeah.
No, that happened. So I just assumed those guys, because I gave them a job a few years earlier and I auditioned them and became friends with them.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
They're not normal show business guys. I mean, they've been married for a half century.
Right.
They're so Midwestern. I just wondered how they would be. They're kind of like on the show and they're becoming stars, and you're the new guy coming in. I assume they were incredibly kind. I hope so.
So great. And Carell and I only overlapped for a few months before he left to do, I think, Watching Ellie or he got his own sitcom. And then of course,
Watching Ellie.
He really blew up on Bruce Almighty, which came out like a a little while later. But or Evan Almighty, I guess, or Bruce.
Evan Almighty.
The first one,
was
no. Bruce was the one where he was the newscaster that was like gibberish talking,
and that was the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah, the Jim Carrey one is where he really popped.
Yeah,
because he was so funny,
so funny. And then he finds his way to the office. I don't want to leap ahead, but then you both end up on the Daily Show, and you both end up on The Office.
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
Yeah, I've had a front row seat to Carell for many decades.
Has he changed? Has he ever gotten slightly cocky?
The worst. He started out the worst. He stayed the worst. No, truly the best. Like gentleman and kind and never. I mean, we'll get to the Office stuff. I have a lot to say about that. But
people will want to hear from you on
that. But I forget where I was. Somewhere. Oh, so I get the audition and I go in for this segment with John, and I knew how to do it. And again, I was like weirdly kind of self-assured. I'm a generally kind of anxious person, so it was one of those rare moments where I felt like I was where I was supposed to be, and that's such a rare, beautiful gift of a feeling when we get it, which I feel like is probably rare for everyone. But the audition went really well, and then they basically said, okay, so we're going to hire you and your buddy Rob Corddry, who I had come up through like improv. He was more from the improv comedy space in New York, but I had also been doing a lot of improv because that was where Conan O'Brien was pulling cast for his sketches on his show. And so I'd gotten kind of into that world and with the Upright Citizens Brigade. But anyway, Rob and I get hired, and we don't get hired. They say, we're going to give you guys segments to do, and we're going to see how you
try
do.
out.
Yeah. So essentially it was like a full blown TV segment, but as a tryout. And so that was my first one. And that was the one where the field producer, who was so great, she was like, I felt like she was on my side. Like she wanted me to do well, which is kind of rare in show business. And she was the one who, like, a couple of days in, she's like, look, this is going great. We're going to have a lot of fun when we go shoot this thing, because you do like 2 weeks of prep work for one of those. She's like, and we're doing meetings with John and the writers and whatever. She's like, this is going great. And you're trying a little too hard. You're too happy to be here. And then, so I tried to sort of
this woman.
She was so great. And I tried to swallow my eagerness a little bit and act cool, even though I felt out of my mind. I was so excited to be there. And it worked. The segment went really, really well. And John really liked it. And then I pitched another segment. My second segment was probably the one that clinched it for me. And that was kind of like your plastic surgery bit, David. It was it was called Touched by a Scalpel. And it was right after Katie Couric had gotten a colonoscopy on camera for the Today Show.
Right. Yes.
And so we were sort of like satirizing like the dramatization of medical, news people going into medical situations and then making a story out of it, kind of like exploiting themselves. And I had a mole removed from my nostril, and we made this huge dramatic segment about it. And it was the most inconsequential thing, but it was very, very fun and silly and went really well. And then that's when it locked up.
Right. And then at some point, I don't know when it happens, you're out there with John. It's a year later or something. And the crowd goes crazy when they see you. I mean, that's
Is that when you finally come in?
It's a heady thing, that idea of success on television and people being just happy, especially comedians. If you make someone laugh, it's sticky.
Yeah, you're so right, Dana. It's like when you feel that, when you feel like the audience knows you and actually has like you're starting off ahead of the starting line because the audience is already warm to what you do. Yeah, that took a while, but then also weirdly, and I don't know what how your SNL experiences were specifically. I've lots of friends who've been cast members, but it really after that initial sort of like ramp up, like you're saying, of maybe 5-6 months of just like pure excitement and bliss, like then the sort of like sine wave kicked in of like anxiety and oh, that segment went terrible, or John didn't laugh at that joke or what, and then you're sort of like I don't know, I started to kind of just poison myself a little bit with negative thoughts, and then you do something great and you're back on top, and then you're just sort of riding this.
It's SNL, same thing.
Yeah,
SNL. If because you have great shows where it really works, and it's very rare. And then you have shows that are just okay, and it's hard not to kind of go. But on SNL, you just same thing. You got the next show.
Yeah,
usually. Unless it's the finale. This is the end of the season. It would be like really, really good if it was like a good show as opposed to a bad show.
Dana.
We love Lauren.
Yeah.
We like good shows. Yeah, there was one, I did a field segment, I remember, and we get back to the edit and we're working on it, and John would always come in for a screening or two and give notes, and he comes in and gives a screening and he's like, ooh, I don't know, guys. I don't know if this one's going to work. And he's like, give it another day and then let's see how it goes. And so we keep working on it. We're like rewriting all the voiceovers and whatever, trying to chop it up. And John comes in the next day. He's like, okay, all right, let's work on this some more. This is getting somewhere. And then he digs in with us. And he's spending time in there, which was very unusual in the field segments. Usually he would just give notes, but like he's in there with us. And I'm like, is this good or bad? Like, is it good that he's here, or is he like trying to resuscitate?
Right. It could go either way.
And then a day or two goes by, and it's been in the edit way too long at this point, but it's undeniably, it's undeniably good by the end of it. So it's like, okay, it's going to air. Thank God. Okay. And it plays that night on the show, gets a huge reaction from the audience. And I said to John after the show, I was like, that went really, really well. Like kind of like, can you believe it went so great after such a tough process? And his response was something like, well, yeah, I mean, you can make anything good if you work hard enough on it. And it was kind of like, it was basically saying like, we kind of had to like waste a lot of time polishing your turd. That's how
you interpret it. That's a backhanded compliment.
But I think it was a genuine way of saying like, do better. Like you gotta deliver. Like of course you can slave over something and really like
put all hands on deck.
And that'll get it passable. But like let's get it.
You can't burn that much time and man hours. Yeah. You're supposed to be better. It shouldn't get to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now you're successful. And how did you find your way to The Office? Another smash.
So
the smash, I suppose, of the last quarter century or something. It's a phenomenon.
Well, so of course I knew Steve, and I actually had a bit part in Evan Almighty, which was really fun. Okay. And he had started, I think he had started working on The Office at that point. And I remember when they cast Steve as the Ricky Gervais character, I just remember thinking like, he is going to crush this. That will be, he's like so perfect for that.
Yes.
Because like he brought this kind of like affable obliviousness to his Daily Show pieces. And I just knew it would be so good in as
awkward, clueless guy. Yeah,
weirdly arrogant in ways.
Yeah,
and,
but still likable. Yeah, he had
yeah.
it was a perfect match of a part to a performer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I sensed that even before the show started. And then of course it was so good. And then it became another show that I watched religiously, in kind of a studious way, also as a fan. And I actually auditioned for it. So when NBC was casting the original cast, I think I read for Jim or Dwight, I can't remember who, but I went into 30 Rock for a casting session, and obviously didn't get the part. Wasn't devastated because I loved my job at the Daily Show. But then a year or two goes by, and I loved the fake documentary format, and I worked with a friend on a short that was basically a short documentary about a zombie trying to like get his life together and get out and like start dating more. And he was just complaining about the sort of like difficulties of being a zombie and all the assumptions that people make about zombies. And so it was a lot of like, it was very Office style, like talking to the camera mixed with like B-roll and little bits. And we paid for like really good zombie makeup. So it was just very, very silly. And somehow that got into Greg Daniels' hands. Greg being the
Greg Daniels,
creator showrunner of the American Office, and I got asked to pop in for a chat with Greg, and that's when they told me, "Hey, we've been thinking about this character. He's like a Connecticut yacht club kid, and he's kind of an idiot, and we think it could be really fun. What do you think?" And I just started kind of like pitching on it a little bit, and it could be like this and this, and we just had a really fun chat about what this Andy Bernard would eventually become. And then it kind of felt similar to the Daily Show, because there was this sense of like the story's going to split and they're going to take Jim to the Stamford branch, and we're just going to try out these people. And if it doesn't work, we're just going to float Jim right back to Scranton. And so it was a very uncertain casting. It wasn't like join the cast of The Office. It was more like, come on, let's see how it goes. And so that was
just like the Daily Show.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So, but it put Rashida and me in this funny little crucible together. And I think we really bonded at that time, because it was so uncertain feeling and like, what's going on? But it was so fun. And again, it was one of those rare moments where I just felt like, oh, this Andy Bernard character, I get him. I get why he's a doofus. I get why this is like fun and funny. And
what's the vibe like on there? Is it stressful?
The Office set?
Finishing your thought. I'm sorry. Yeah. Is it like run and gun? I mean, it's probably pretty thought out, but is it stressful? We got to get our days. There's some shows that are tougher than they look, you know?
Yes. And I would say it was long, very long hours, early mornings, and then kind of late evenings a lot. But it was such a cohesive group, and there was very little, if any, drama. The writers were a few people from SNL, like Mike Schur had come on board, and of course Greg Daniels' origin was SNL.
Yeah,
but
great.
But it felt. I would say the vibe was exceptionally good. It was an exceptionally good group of people that was enjoying each other, making each other laugh. The writing was everyone believed in the writing and believed in the show. And that takes you so far. I think if you're getting scripts where you're disappointed or even a little apprehensive about doing something or whatever, that's when tension and like interpersonal conflict can start to creep in to a whole show dynamic. But really the shows were so good, like the scripts were so good, and the cast was so funny. Everyone made each other laugh. And what I was going to say about Steve, we were starting to talk about Steve a little bit before. The thing I think that that made it work so well for so long is that Steve understood, and in a lot of ways, I think sort of passively taught all of us. He understood what it meant to lead a cast, and he understood that. And I don't even know if he thought about this or if it was just sort of his natural instinct, but he was always on time, and he always knew his lines, and he never ever complained. He would get exasperated here and there, you could tell, but he was never like complaining about the process or the people.
Yeah.
And when the top dog on a set is behaving that way, it makes it impossible for anyone under that person to behave in any other
squeaky,
way. Yeah, because then it's like, well, Steve's not complaining. Steve has more lines than anybody. He's in more scenes than anybody. He has to work harder than any of us, and he's not complaining. So like, why would you complain? And I think we all kind of internalized that. Again, I wasn't even aware of it at the time. It just was sort of like, oh, this is how we are on this set. We show up and we are there for each other.
I don't think Steve's capable of that, being a Midwesterner, but it's also like he was passed over for SNL, and if you make it at 23, it's easier to develop being a little bit spoiled. But if you know that you have a job, and never losing gratitude over that, you know, and I think Steve would be incapable of that. But I just loved, it was such a breath of fresh air in America, just the way everyone was alive in the frame all the time, just with little glances and stuff. Just the way it was shot, it just made it just so real, as opposed to brilliant sitcoms where there's laugh tracks and all that. So stating the obvious there, but the thing that's interesting now is how big it's become since it went off, and it's on Netflix. It's just huge.
I agree. It took on a life of its own even after the show ended. And I still have little kids come up to me that are so excited about The Office. I'm like, you weren't even born when the show ended.
Yeah.
And and it's still resonating for you. And I think it's a testament to the commitment of the writers and the cast and the vibe, this vibe that I'm talking about, that everyone felt on set, made it somehow through the screen. And I think people feel the warmth of it, and they feel. And
you also know you're working on a show that works. It's like a hit. Like that helps a lot.
Yeah. And it's growing. So anyway, it was because we don't have all day, but we have a lot of time, just because you go from that, you get to The Office. I know there's all this stuff happening. And then all of a sudden, and you've done a lot of other things, but The Hangover happens.
Yeah.
The movie, The Hangover, one of the biggest comedy hits of all time. And so what are you feeling at that point, and how did that come about? Because that thing was great. I look at those comedies just in context. I look at Tropic Thunder. The one question I wanted to ask you, and then Hangover. Is there anything in The Hangover that couldn't be made today?
Oh, I think so.
A lot of things.
The ending credits.
I haven't watched it in quite a few years, but my gut feeling is that a lot of it.
I just assume
probably a little tricky tonally. But
well, Todd Phillips, the director, kind of stopped doing comedy and went and did The Joker, because he felt there were too many rules because of whatever the culture had shifted. But that movie, I was just like Tropic Thunder. I think the year before, when I went and saw it, it caught me off guard in a great way. I really laughed my ass off at that movie. First blush.
Good title, R-rated. Everybody's good in it. Well,
such a clean concept.
Yeah.
I think by the way, it's making my year that you're saying that. That really, really means a
About
lot.
what?
That you liked the movie, a movie that I
Jesus.
was in. I really appreciate that.
Well, Bradley Cooper and Zach and you, the three of you guys, it was three different notes. It was it's a perfect casting. You guys were all, but it just had a lively pop to it that you can't,
I also think it was a little, the plot of that movie is kind of a magic trick because I was in a hotel lobby maybe a month or week or two after it came out. And there was a group of old ladies, like literally grandmothers, sitting around talking about bits from the movie and how funny it was. And I remember thinking, okay, this, and then of course you had like all the frat boys that love it. So the movie did this thing where like the guys, the characters are behaving horribly in a way that like is very aspirational for like young men to be like party animals, right? And they are party animals, and that appeals to like young people. But then the next morning they're mortified by their own behavior. So that's what makes it redemptive to the older set who are like, oh, these sweet boys got themselves in a pickle. And it kind of like
should have been called the pickle.
The pickle. You're right. Damn it. But it did. I've always thought that plot was very special because it was able to appeal. There were parts of the story that connected to so many people.
Yes. It's just such a funny device that they're basically blackout drunk and then they're figuring out all this stuff going backwards and
it's such an open way
and
to
feeling
just do
very
anything.
human about it. What? I don't remember that, and you guys that was Tyson, right? Punching
was that the first one, second one? Do you remember?
Tyson was in the first one.
And the second.
And the second one.
Yeah.
He's in the end of the second one. Yeah. Second one's where I get his tattoo.
But getting Tyson and using Tyson and how Tyson has become now with hot boxing podcasts and how he's become this cultural figure that everybody loves. It was just, the movie was paced in a way that all of a sudden you're seeing a Tiger and Tyson, like it's just, just like it moves on such a great pace. It just never let up.
You still talk to the Tiger?
Yeah, it was so good. I got in there and I didn't want to punch the tiger. He told me, you said you got to punch the tiger. I said, I don't want to punch the tiger because I got tigers. Sorry.
Can I tell you something? It is terrifying working with tigers. Have you ever?
No way.
Worked with a tiger? I don't want to do it
with their
again.
real indigenous teeth and claws.
There's something. So the first night we worked with the tigers,
telling you to relax.
The thing. The basically the tigers are sort of only restrained by the illusion of restraint. Like the tiger believes that their cord is strong enough, but actually they could break it if they got really freaked out or break.
They said the tiger believes. Is that what it is? The tiger thing. The tiger believes it can't break the cord, but it probably could.
Yeah, it's something like that. Well, I don't know. We're just looking at these leashes and like that is not
too strong.
Sufficient. Like that is not.
No.
And then the first night that we worked with the tiger, it was at the Tyson Mansion set, which was out in Chatsworth, I think, and the tigers were on this truck and in these big cages, like on a big flatbed in these big cages, and as dusk set in because it was a night shoot, and so dusk is setting in. And the wind is whipping up, and there's all these trees and tall grass, like, just like kind of billowing in the wind. And the tigers are growling in their cage, like back and forth, pacing, getting really anxious and antsy. And we're like, what's going on? And the trainer's like, oh, they're nocturnal, they're night hunters. So they're getting keyed up. They're getting keyed up
for someone to kill.
So what is it? So they're night hunters, and
they're like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to start with a night shoot. And they give you this whole like safety lecture about how to like, don't turn your back on the tiger because if they see your back, they think you're fleeing.
Then they want to attack.
That's what makes them want to attack.
You'll never get bit. If you do, put pressure on it right away.
Or point at the tiger and yell, stop. Because that's what we were told to do with dogs that would chase us when we were running. Get eye contact and yell, stop. But that would be terrifying with a tiger.
And then of course Bradley, that later on we're doing the some of those photos for the ending credits.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Bradley's like, "Can I feed it?" They're like,
Oh,
"Sure."
boy.
They give him a giant milk bottle, and he's just standing there. I think it's one of the pictures in the credits where
That's
he's
funny.
like actually feeding. And I was like, Bradley, what the hell? But
I love big movies that have budgets where I guess it was Todd Phillips or someone in a room writing mansion, Tyson punches tiger, you know, and then
Mhm.
and then it appears.
And it
It's
works
kinda-
out perfectly.
And it works out
There's
perfectly. It's like
It's probably hard to do all that stuff. By the way, night shoots are tough anyway.
ugh. Oh yeah.
Just
Thank
for
you.
anything. And then when I see a movie, when I write them with my buddies, we always go, the final draft is like, let's go through and eliminate anything that could be day. Because sometimes you just put it in there and you realize you don't need it. Or you shoot it inside and they darken the windows, because flipping a whole movie to night and you do splits, then you're like,
Ugh.
oh, it throws everything off. And so most people are sane enough to try to avoid night shoots.
what's
Yeah.
your longest day on a set, you think, Ed, where you get
Oh my
there
God.
at
All right,
5
so
hours?
This is
Yeah.
this is nuts. So I was shooting The Office at the same time as The Hangover.
Oh no.
And they had both been incredibly accommodating. So the Hangover said, we're going to make our work week Wednesday to Sunday. And The Office said, we're going to crossboard you, meaning they're going to condense all my scenes into Monday and Tuesdays of an Office production week. So there was one night where we did a night shoot in Las Vegas on a Sunday night, and I had to be on set for The Office at like 6:30 the next morning. But we're shooting until 4:30. And I couldn't tell each production exactly what was going on because they were freaked out. So I, on my own dime, I chartered a little jet from Las Vegas to Van Nuys Airport, which was 10 minutes from the Office stages.
Okay.
And I wrap on The Hangover at like 4:30 or 5 in the morning, race to the airport in Las Vegas, jump in this little jet that was the size of a Honda Civic, and
Lear 25, probably.
I don't know what tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And I land in Van Nuys. I sleep maybe 15 minutes on this plane, and land in Van Nuys, go straight to my trailer on the Office stages, get changed, and start shooting and have a full day. And of course, they've crossboarded me, so it's all me. I'm shooting every scene that day. And the craziest part about that day, and there were actually a couple of days that kind of were like that. But the craziest thing about that is that at the end of that Office production day, Ben Stiller had asked me to do this little. He was like, had some big benefit, and he wanted me to be in a comedy sketch that he was doing. And I had agreed to it like a month before.
Oh, yeah.
And so it had squeezed in at the end of that Office production day. And I think I was on like my 7th or 8th Red Bull by the time I got to that. And I shot that thing, and it went fine, and then just zonked out. And I will say, as crazy as that was, and that was basically a month of like very intense insanity, flying back and forth from Vegas and like long days on both productions. It was also like one of the happiest months of my life. I loved every minute of it. The production of The Hangover was one of the most fun things I could ever have hoped to be a part of in this business. It was so collaborative. It was so none of us were, stars really at the time. And so everyone was just kind of like humble and eager to make something great. And it was a similar ethos to The Office, where like me, Zach, and Bradley actually were almost competitive about like being on time and like being professional and kind of showing up for Todd, because Todd he's like a very obviously fun and hilarious director, but he's very professional. Like it's a grown-up set. It's not like not like other comedy movies I've been on where it's just kind of like feels like a party. But we loved it. I think all three of us just were so psyched to show up and do the work and find the jokes. We would take these breaks and just step aside. Todd would be like, "What's wrong with this? Like, why isn't this funny enough?" And we would all just figure it out. I remember.
Wow, he's now my favorite director. Just saying that, going to the actual performers and going, "Hey guys, what do you think?"
Three funny guys. You're like,
but I just want to say here for people listening is that when you're in stuff you know's not working and you're trapped in it, whether it's a bad TV show or a movie or whatever, that is very exhausting. So your hours are insane, but you're in two spectacular things that are memorable to this day. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did not realize that was happening at the same time.
Well, I had my tooth removed, so I have an implanted tooth here that I've had since high school, and my dentist was able to take the crown off of it for the hangover.
Jesus.
But then I had to have a flipper that had a fake tooth on it to go to set on The Office.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is that it did affect my speech a tiny bit. Like if you really pay close attention, you could tell. But it was just one of like so many hilarious details about that time. It's crazy.
It's an amazing run.
Trifecta of three of those on top of everything else you did.
We should mention before we let you get back to your magnificent life. Besides looking 36, you have a podcast.
Yeah.
That's very cool called Snafu. Tell our audience about it.
Well, thank you so much for asking about it, Dana.
I love the idea of it, and I wanted, after you tell us what it's about, it's like the history that's happening right now in America in a political sense. You got ears coming off, you got people resigning and stumbling.
Yeah.
And so to your podcast, you're actually go ahead.
Yes. Well, so it's called Snafu, and the premise is it's kind of a documentary history podcast, and the log line is it's about history's greatest screw ups, and it's just a really fun kind of cheeky look back at some moments in history where shit just went really sideways, and each season this is season 2 just came out. It's iHeartRadio or iHeart podcast, and along with Film Nation and Gilded Audio,
and your production company name, which I like.
Oh yeah, Pacific Electric Picture Company is my company, and we all collaborated on
video or audio.
Pictures?
No, the podcast is audio.
The podcast is audio only, but it's season 1 was a look back at this crazy event in 1983 called Able Archer, where NATO had this giant military exercise where they're moving troops and navies all over the planet, and the Soviet Union looked at that and was like, "Hold on, guys, are you staging to invade us?
Is this practice for the invasion?"
NATO said it was just an exercise, but the Soviet Union thought it was real staging for an invasion, and so they ramped up their nuclear posture, and then of course the U.S. clocked that, and our posture ramped up. A lot of historians believe it's the closest we came to a nuclear holocaust. And all of this was completely under the radar, not known to the public at all until just a few years ago. And it's an insane story, especially when you kind of look at the template of what Ronald Reagan and other politicians were saying at the time, and then now knowing what was going on underneath it. It's a wild story. That was season 1. Season 2 of Snafu just came out. I'm so proud of it. It's this is like the ultimate mashup of my nerdy love of history, and then of course my love of storytelling. Season 2 is the story of Medburg, which is a cute abbreviation for media burglary, and it is the town of Media, Pennsylvania, where a group of activists, anti-war activists in 1971, Vietnam War going on. It's a crazy, like tumultuous time in America. And these activists felt like the FBI was getting a little bit shady and starting to intimidate or harass people. And so they were like, how do we prove this? And so just these citizen activists pulled off this insane heist where they break into an FBI office in Pennsylvania, steal files, and then they start to leak them to this very courageous reporter, Betty Metzger, at the Washington Post, and she starts to publish them. And that was the beginning of J. Edgar Hoover's sort of like exposure as a very dark figure.
How many years was he in the head of the FBI? I mean, he had files, and
my God,
he could have blackmailed everybody.
Yeah, he did. He flagrantly blackmailed lots of people. But even worse than that, he was harassing like so many civil rights activists. Martin Luther King was getting relentless harassment from the FBI. And then, of course, the anti-war activists were also getting harassed and at times blackmailed. They would write these poison pen letters. There's a famous one that they wrote to Martin Luther King that's just like basically telling him he should kill himself. But it's anonymous, right? It's like, what? But that came from the FBI. And then, of course, COINTELPRO was revealed, which is this, which stands for Counterintelligence Program. And that was a program that under which the FBI was officially harassing and really like abusing its power and surveilling so much like illegal surveillance of law-abiding citizens, which is terrifying and should terrify all of us.
I don't like that. Would season 3 potentially be the Trump assassination attempt? I mean, because that's like, what?
I don't.
But no, you have a large
actually,
part.
season 3 is in the works already. We have season 3 in the works. It's an exciting one. I'll talk about that next time I'm on the show.
I was told by your producer that it's about David and I starting this podcast. It's an actual documentary.
It's season 3 and 4.
This is all deep cover. Me doing research.
I love history as well and things like that. What we don't know, which went on behind the scenes, is just fascinating. So anyway, Snafu. Ed Helm.
Snafu.
Well, thank you, Ed. It's actually a blast talking to you
guys.
Yeah, very interesting.
I want to do this in reverse and just talk through your entire careers because
we've been doing it. We talk about ourselves so much.
I know.
It's sort of
I've
sickening.
listened. It's fun. It's fun.
And just because as a bookmark, we kind of did get to, but you did host SNL on May 11th, 2013, and in which during the monologue you were in a spandex unitard and you twirled a baton. So that's never been done before.
I'm very proud of that. I don't think that, that was a wonderful, wonderful night. And really like I just remember feeling that was the realization of that dream that I'd always had.
That's right.
To be on SNL, even as my dream was to be a cast member, but then of course to host was like,
the second best dream is to be big enough to be a host of SNL, where the cast is kind of like, "Hi, Mr. Helms."
They work for you, yeah.
I have an idea where you and I are postmen, and anyway. But what a story! What an incredible journey you've had. My God, it's amazing.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, you're just.
Hey, believe me, where I'm up on the ladder, you are just getting started. You know, don't overage yourself. You know, people go, "Well, I'm this age." It's kind of no, don't do that. You have to just not go gently into that good night. You just keep going.
Keep going till they stop you.
Keep going till you get enough.
Yeah.
It's really. I'm really, really glad to be here with you guys. This means a lot.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Good luck with the podcast.